Hi everyone, welcome back to the Renewable Radio podcast, sponsored by Hale Heating and Renewables and the Hale Group. Today we have a subject matter expert in Kieren from KMM Energy Solutions, partner with Steve, who've been on the podcast before. And the main topic today that I want to be picking his brain about is switching over your utility bills. So once you have a renewable energy solution in your home, the best tariffs out there to help consumers reduce their energy bills. So thank you very much for coming, Kieren. And I've been trying to get you on for a while. So
yeah, no dramas, Ash. Good to be here, mate.
Yeah, happy with you being on today. Tell me a little bit about you, your background, and what you've been doing within the industry.
Yeah, so you might be able to tell I'm Australian, and I came over here in 2010. My renewables journey started pretty much when I was born. My mum was one of the first people in Australia to have solar.
Oh, that's
so I was born totally off grid, no mains water, no mains sewage, no mains power. So back then it was a little bit weird, and nowadays everyone would love to be off grid, wouldn't they?
Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? I got so many questions on that, but let's just carry on. That's cool.
Yeah, so back then we had to have a generator to do like the washing machine and the vacuum, the higher wattage appliances.
Yeah.
I could only watch one TV show a day, and back then batteries weren't a real thing. So at the end of the day, at the end of the daylight, we had candles around the house, and my mum built her own house out of Australian hardwood, and she was a horticulturist, so she built her own rainforest over 10 acres over a 30-year period.
Oh, that's amazing, man.
So I came from a real environmental sort of upbringing, watching David Attenborough, always out in nature.
Yeah.
So I think that's what fostered a lot of my sort of passion for the environment. And I also worked in the forestry. So when I finished school, when I was 16, I hadn't finished school yet, but I was doing in the holidays and in the break times, I was working in the forestry, planting trees for the state forests.
Yeah.
So planting 2,000 to 5,000 trees a day by hand.
Wow.
In anything from minus 11 degrees in the snowy mountains up to about 45 degrees up in Queensland.
So you do 5,000 trees
that's
yourself?
5,500 was the most I did in a day.
What?
But literally,
That's bonkers.
You get them strapped to your waist. They get watered as well just beforehand.
Okay. So they literally then you put in big trees.
Yeah, they're probably about roughly any of the smaller ones or all the way the longer pine trees.
Wow.
They get strapped to your waist, and because they're watered, they're really heavy.
Yeah.
So I work with a lot of backpackers, and because it's seasonal work, you have to wait for the rain.
Yeah.
So I worked in the forestry for a few years, and that taught me a bit about hard graft, proper hard graft. It's in the top 10 hardest jobs in the world, that one, physically.
Yeah, well, I bet it is, mate. Yeah.
So it was
a bit different to what you're doing these days, though. Yeah.
It is. I always joke with my mates now. They're like, "Oh, you're a pen pusher," you know. So I used to work hard. But no, when I left Australia at 19, I came to the UK. I'm half English, so I've got both passports, and my brother had come over a couple of years before, and he was a bit of a recluse in his room playing Xbox and reading books. You won't mind me saying that. And then he came home, life and soul of the party.
Give him a shout out, mate.
Yeah, Ash Stewart. He'll have a laugh at that, mate. But yeah, when I came over with a bit of a dream to play football and travel Europe, and I quickly realised I wasn't as good at football as I thought. In Australia, football's a different standard.
What year was that?
That was 2010.
Okay.
So September 2010.
14 years you've been, nearly 15 years. Huh?
Yeah. So that's when I first came over, and I worked as a charity fundraiser in London, thinking I was going to save the world, and learn a little bit about charities there, working on the high streets as a chugger, as they call it here.
Yep.
And then I did a lot of promotional work, traveling around schools and universities, doing that for a fair few years, living in Cardiff. Cardiff for 6
in the
years,
motherland.
Mate. Yeah. So I love Cardiff, mate. One of my favourite cities.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed living there. And then moved over to Bristol, and now I live up near Newark-upon-Trent. So when I lived near Bristol, I started solar at the back end of 2017.
Yeah.
And that was a really interesting time to start solar, because the feed-in tariff had ended in 2017.
Yes.
There was a lot of rent your roof schemes that were going bust, or people were having problems selling their houses. And I think that's when solar really started to get a bit of a bad name, because of, it wasn't as regulated as an industry. It was
as it is now.
Yeah, as it is now. It was quite new. Some people had great returns on really high, unit rates.
Some people are on fantastic deals.
70 pence, we're seeing now on that index linked scheme. Whereas other people were getting in 2015, 16 when it was getting really crammed in. And that's when I think the worst quality installs were going in around that period.
A lot of those companies have gone bust. They was there for a boom. They've all gone bust. And then when we are going back to speak to the customers about battery and everything like that, the horror stories and some of the sites that we see,
the workmanship,
it's absolutely shocking. So like part of this is to put positive information out there for the consumers and for them to know that even if they have had a horror story previously, it's nowhere near like that now.
That's right. I think a lot of people were turned off by solar, even real estate agents. You get people, because it increases the value of your house now, but you'll speak to one real estate agent that tells you it does and one that'll tell you it doesn't. And they're both right. Because if you've had that experience, and I've got a customer I'm dealing with at the moment that's suing the old company that's actually gone bust, but there's a management company that's taken over the payments of the feed-in tariff.
Okay.
Because that was the knock, free solar on your house, and it really was free.
Mis-selling though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you look down the line now, like what worries me still to this day really is the over-promising and under-delivering and the mis-selling to customers. And I think, what we have to do is work together as an industry to do the best installs for customers and consumers, provide the positive information, and then it's an all better experience for everyone, I think, because renewables is the future.
It is, yeah. I think on two parts on that, I think there's too many people going in now that don't actually know exactly, there's lots of electricians out there that can physically install solar.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people out there that are sizing the systems wrong to achieve the customer's goals. They're putting in smaller systems so they can get paid quicker. They're not putting in larger systems because they think the customer doesn't want to spend the money, when in reality they're going to spend the money anyway on the energy bills, but the system's not fit for purpose.
Yeah, but it's explaining that properly. Like, like when I had Steve on, your partner, he was discussing, like, you build a bespoke package for the customer. So if your usage is XYZ and your roof is big enough, then we can maximize your installation to save you money moving forward. But like a lot of the bigger companies, they are restricted to what they can survey and what they can sell to customers. So they would rather put it in next week on a smaller inverter, and the only person that is benefiting is that company.
Well, I used to work for one of those companies. Me and Steve worked for the largest domestic installation company in the UK, Project Solar.
I was going to say, don't say the name just in case we get sued.
Well, it's a fact. We did work for them, and one of the reasons we...
I'm not saying it, by the way, is Kieren.
Well, one of the reasons we left is that exact reason. We didn't feel that we were doing a right service to the customer because we were being incentivized to sell systems that benefited the company rather than the customer. And that doesn't resonate with us. We would rather wait longer to get the grid application back to really make a difference. And we're getting customers now that are covering not just their electricity bill, but also covering part of their gas or oil bill.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Which, a lot of people can't imagine how that's physically possible. But if you produce more than what you're using and you're selling it back to the grid's paying good money now. And a lot of people don't realise this. They think because the feed-in tariff's gone, that there's no incentive to sell it back. And education is probably the biggest part in our industry, which is obviously good while you're doing something like this.
The money's in the savings, So, and like most people nowadays, you've got your gas and electricity bill by the same supplier. So, when you were generating electricity on your roof, because that's what you're doing, you're your own power station, really. It actually reduces both of them, because in the summer you're going to be using a hell of a lot more. You're going to be generating a hell of a lot more than what you're using, because your heating's not on, your lights are not on all the time because it's sunny. Do you know what I mean? So if you look at it an annual approach, then the savings are fantastic.
Well, it's much different here compared to Australia, because we get where I'm from, which is about the middle of Australia, Byron Bay. We get an hour difference between daylight hours between summer and winter. And what a lot of people don't realise, so both my parents in Australia have solar on their properties, and the best day in the summer over there is the same, if not worse, than the best day here.
Oh, really?
So we often get a better day's generation in the summer than the best day in Australia. People can't believe that. Oh, Australia's
that's
brilliant weather.
That's hard work too.
But it's on daylight now.
Yeah.
So when it's 4 a.m. over here to 11 p.m. in the longest days of the summer, that's 19 hours worth of solar generation. Wow. Whereas in Australia, we're getting that 12 to 13 hours.
Consistently through the year.
Yeah, consistently. So over a course of a year, you will get better returns in Australia.
Yeah.
But it's just a different way of managing your energy over here. You sell it high in the summer and you build up your credits and you use those credits to pay your winter bill. And that's why it's really important to maximise that roof. We've got a few corny sayings, which aren't really, they're true.
Reel them off, Matt. Well,
Well, how much is your roof making you at the moment?
Yeah.
You know? And that's, we see people that re-roof their house, and I'm like, please tell me you're not going to re-roof your house just to keep the rain out.
Yeah. I just had a conversation with a customer. I was walking the dog the other day, and I'd seen the scaffold was up there, and then they started obviously doing the roof, and I was like, have a thought about solar? And I said, like, this is the perfect time. Like the scaffold's already up, you'll be saving on that side.
It's not cheap, scaffold.
Yeah. Grand, 1,500 quid sometimes. So I spoke to them and they was like, no, it's nothing that we're interested in. And I just thought,
it's because they don't know about it.
Everyone's moaning about the cost of utility bills. Let's be honest, like the winter payments are gone from the government. The cap is
10% just gone up. They reckon it's going to do the same in January.
Yeah, it's 100% going to go up in January. So, like, why are people not realising that they've got this big space on top of their roof that can actually reduce their energy costs? So,
I think the main way that we describe to the customers that really gets people, I guess, thinking about their situation is just ask them if they rented a house before. And quite often people will say, yes, we have rented a house. And I'll be like, well, why have you decided to buy a house? And they'll go, well, we don't want to make someone else rich. We want something for our money. And I'm like, so why are you renting your energy then? And it's this concept, because it's quite new. We've always been told to buy a house rather than rent a house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because then you get something for your money.
Yeah, definitely.
But, people don't realise they're renting their energy. And some people say to us, oh, we're not renting it.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, so do you produce it yourself? Yeah. No, we don't. So who,
it's a different way to look at it. Like we're all stuck in the way that we've known from our parents, our grandparents and everything like that. And technology is changing so much. And
especially in our sector.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's changing
every 3 months. Yeah. With the bills changing, there'll be new ways to benefit, and obviously tariffs is something that we're going to come on to.
Yeah,
later.
We'll discuss that. That's like a massive, big subject that I feel like there needs to be more information, just from my learning as well. But I feel like everyone. But what I'm saying about the way we need to change the way we think is, we don't think of lowering utility bills by being more energy efficient, or we just think turn the heating off. If we talk about heating, just turn the heating off because we're not paying for gas then. But if you use constant heat, as I've talked about on the show before, it's actually cheaper in the long run.
Yeah, because it's not firing up all the time.
Yeah, and going on maximum and like
boost. Everyone likes a boost, don't they?
Yeah, if it's a slow, continuous heat, it saves you money in the long run, and it's the same as changing the thinking with solar panels and changing your tariff, and now with battery installations, Like there's certain things that we're going to talk about that we've talked about previously, utilising equipment and batteries and not feeding tariffs and your tariffs or different rates that
daytime and nighttime.
You can maximise your savings, and that's what we're going to go into today. So what other things you were saying to customers that changes the way they're thinking?
Well, I think a lot of people aren't fully aware about their bills in total. I think the first bit that I look at, when we go into a property, everyone's like, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
like what's it going to cost? Everyone's so worried about what it's going to cost.
That's the battle that we got to.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, how much is what going to cost?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, the system. And I'm like, what system? Because I haven't even had a look at their property yet. I haven't measured up the house. I haven't had a look at their bills. I don't know what their demands are. I don't know what their future goals are. So we come up against a lot of companies that are just quoting remote surveys.
Yeah, or selling panel. We got a package. We will sell you 8 panels from an online survey, and it doesn't even matter what you're generating or what you can fit on your roof. It's just like 8 panels, 3.65 kilowatt battery, 3.6 inverter, whatever battery, even if they put a battery in, just to get a sale over the line.
Because it's a lower entry point.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to spend less money. And the irony is, if you spend more money up front on a correct size solar system, your returns can be hundreds of % higher. On my own personal house, I've just cashed out £900 after the summer because I've got a system that's way bigger than what I need. But
so your gas is paid for the winter.
I've left 500 quid in there.
Wow, that's bonkers.
And that's obviously because it's my job. Yeah, so I know what to do.
But we know, and like this is why we have to put this information. Everyone can have this. We're in 2024. If you're thinking about putting solar on your roof or whatever, if you get it designed properly and installed correctly, it will lower your gas bill and your electricity bill.
Yeah. I think when we go into a property, the biggest challenge is getting someone's bill. Yeah. Because people are like, I pay £150 a month. Yeah. And I'm like, what's the split between gas and electric?
You don't know, do they?
No idea. And I'm like, well, because everyone's paying a different amount, especially when you go into commercial, the rates are massively different. But in domestic,
Talk a bit about commercial later. I want to pick your brains. We've been doing some commercial jobs, but like there's things available. Obviously, we're partnering together on some stuff. So I want to really pick your brains in the projects that you've been doing and the savings you're getting for.
I will do. Yeah, for sure.
Stuff. But yeah, talk to me about the bills.
So the bills, like when we go to a customer's house, we need to see their unit rate, we need to see their standing charge, and most importantly, we need to see their kilowatt usage for the year. Because, it ranges. People think, are quite surprised by how much they're using in a house. We'll see, 700 kilowatts, maybe a person's living by themselves in a small, 1-2 bed bungalow. Obviously, the running costs are going to be smaller. Yeah. There's less electrical appliances going in. I'm doing a job for a customer at the moment who's only using about 900 kilowatts a year, but he lives in Spain for 6 months of the year. So he's using it because he's going to get a 10% return on his money by investing in solar as opposed to a 4.5% in the bank.
Yes.
And he's a bit more aware of his bills. But when we go in there and we have a look at the bills, it's like you're using 11,000 kilowatts of power. How are you using 11,000 kilowatts of power?
Hot tub, they got...
air source heat pump.
Yeah, EV charger, like all these things are high usage for the consumer.
So a standard package wouldn't help them.
No, yeah,
it would only, it might generate 3,000 kilowatts and they're using 11,000.
Yeah.
So like you would be crazy to invest the money because as we know, the main cost is the install.
Yes.
So if you're going to get it done right.
Yes, exactly. So like you may have an EV charger, but you're in a 2-up, 2-down terrace house. So like you've just got to maximize your space on them to reduce your electricity costs and just do what you can. But on the larger houses, that it's a bespoke installation, don't dip your toe in because it'll cost them more in the long run.
Well, I've got a job at the moment that's just about to go in, and he can only get 10 panels on his roof.
Yeah,
and he's using 7,500 kilowatts. So those 10 panels are only actually going to generate about 3,500 kilowatts of power.
Yeah.
So you might think, well, what's the point? I'm still going to have to buy the other half. But the cost of that half is quite significant over a 30-year period.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously you've got that half covered, but also by putting the battery in, the battery can allow you to buy in cheap energy at night at 6 to 7p a kilowatt, which a lot of people aren't aware of, like the old Eco 7 concept. That's coming back in a lot more as we go to, in particular, EV cars.
Yes.
So you can buy it in at that night rate, store it, and use it to complement the solar generation. And what you ideally want to do is he's still going to be away at certain points of the day. They're going to be on holiday. They can still sell their excess energy off for between 15 and 16.5 pence a kilowatt are the two top tariffs at the moment.
I like to say to my customers, it's like a triple threat. You've got the savings, which is the most part of what you're saving
For
on.
most people's bills.
Yeah. Then you've got the export when you're buying it cheaper and going in more. And then the other one is like the generation that you're just selling back. So just Joe pop into the podcast room now. How's it going, Joe?
Hello, Santa!
How are you, Joe?
How's it
How are you,
going?
mate? Yeah, good.
Look at you guys.
Christmas special, mate,
The superstars, Renewable Radios, the hottest renewable show in the UK right now. How's
It is
going?
indeed, yeah,
Good,
good.
mate. Good
Yeah.
work. Having a good chinwag about how the systems and quoting process works.
Fantastic. And have you put in your wish list?
Oh yeah, of course. We actually got a giveaway, 12 gifts for Christmas by our sponsors, Hale Heating and Renewables, that we're going to be doing at
Fantastic.
the end of the show. Yeah.
Excellent. Good man. But business good?
Yeah, steady. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. You good?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, mate.
Excellent.
Yeah, very busy.
Good. Fantastic. Well, I'll let you guys crack on. Lovely to see you. Keep
Thank you,
smashing it. Yep.
Cheers,
See
mate.
you soon.
We're talking about mainly about the energy bills, like when you go in and how people don't understand about their energy bills.
Yeah, and building a bespoke system for them from their bill. That's the most important part.
We literally won't do a quote for a customer
Yeah.
until we have the bill.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of people go, well, you must know roughly what it's going to be. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I can put a system in, but I don't know if the battery size is correct. I don't know what size inverter you need. I don't know what your power demands are on the property, because people won't be able to tell you.
No, yeah, exactly.
Because, they make bills very confusing nowadays. Like, there's some companies out there like Octopus who make them a lot clearer. Then there's companies like OVO, I find, is probably the hardest bill. They've got all the key information on about 5 different pages.
Yeah, it is like copied on each page and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so like when their customers, they're trying to show you their bank statements to show you how much money's going out a month. And I'm like, everyone's paying a different rate. Everyone's using a different amount. I don't know the split between gas and electricity.
Yeah.
So you want me to give you the best system, don't you, to achieve your goals?
That's
They're
the,
like,
that's
yes.
the goal, isn't it? We are going there to build the best system for the customer.
You want the best return on investment.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we're getting that customer, quite often, we've all got our roles in the relationship. The wife might do the bills and the husband does the car insurance, for example. So quite often our challenge is if there's only one person at home, that person doesn't have all the information that we need. So you must get it as well as us. A lot of people are like, oh, why do both people need to be there? They don't both need to be there, but what is the point for the customer, just as much of us, as turning up to a property where we can't deliver all the information that they're after?
Yeah. And
Because we don't have the information ourselves.
but we've got to explain to the decision makers in the property the complete installation process, the complete savings process, and everything to do with that installation.
It's a bit more complex, isn't it, than people realise?
It's not just go in, we can put £8 on your roof and a 5 kilowatt battery. It's designed from your bill and your usage, and then it all works together from there. So explaining it to both parties at the same time, or the decision makers at the same time, it allows for miscommunication between the key decision makers.
Yeah, a bit of Chinese whispers, as they say.
Yeah, because
they're not going to be able to relay an hour to 2 hours worth of information correctly, because if I was to do a day in their job, I would struggle.
it's impossible. It is impossible to.
And everyone's got different questions.
Yes, so it's vitally important that everyone who's making the decisions in the household is there on the survey process, so that we can just put all that information towards you and you make a key decision whether it's right for you or not.
I think for your followers and watchers that are watching this, I think something really key for them that they could do as a bit of homework is go and download your latest bill at home and have a little look through it and humble yourself by going, wow, what does all this mean?
Yeah.
Because that's how they do it. There's 3 key things to look for. Look at what your unit rate is, because that's the most important. I get a lot of people telling me, oh, my standing charge has gone up from 40p to 60p. That's horrendous. Obviously it is, but the standing charge is only times by 365 the days of the year.
Yeah.
The unit rate will be times by 3, 4, 5, 10,000, whatever the unit.
Whatever you're using. Yeah, that's the scary part. You know?
So have a look at that annual usage, and it's not exact, it's an estimated annual usage based on your previous 12 months worth of usage. So obviously it might go 7,000 one year, 8,000 one year, 6,000 one year, but it's going to be relatively accurate. And that's the best piece of information that we have. So if you have a look at all those different factors, divide that annual usage by 365, and that will give you an idea of how many kilowatts you're using a year. And that's how we end up sizing the batteries. So one customer might have a 3 kilowatt battery, and we put one in the other day for a household, a 33 kilowatt battery.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a big difference in cost.
Yeah.
But that customer's spending £500 a month and the other customer's spending £35 a month.
Yeah.
So we have to put in totally different systems.
It's bespoke. It's bespoke installations for your usage, and that's the most important part. It's not a one size fits all, and whoever's going out there and doing a one size fits all package, they're really letting the customers and the consumers down on that, because lots of people are interested in solar, but doing it correctly is the most important part.
I reckon 50% of people that don't get a renewable product, whether that be air source, whether it be solar, it's probably because they've had too many quotes.
Yeah.
And I know that might sound like a crazy thing. We're conditioned to get loads of quotes, but in our industry, we see, and as you know, we help train other people in the renewable energy industry in how to work together across all the different renewable products.
Yes.
Is you'll get 5 people coming in telling you 5 different stories.
Because there's not key information out there that everyone knows. It's all, I know a little bit, so I'm going to tell a consumer this. I know a little bit, I'm going to tell a consumer this. But that customer or consumer then has got too much information that is different sources and different, not correct information, so it just confuses everything, and then the decision doesn't get made then.
Well, it's the motives, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the motives. Like, are you telling me that because it's better for your business?
Yeah.
Or are you telling me that because it's better for me?
Yeah.
And obviously that's the way that we do it. It's always got to be better for the customer, because if you're doing a job better for the customer, you get referrals because the results are better.
It's a win-win then.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, most people want a renewable product deep down. Like, the interest at the moment obviously is massive, but I think everyone's scared to make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So, the aftercare that obviously our businesses, align very well in that. It's very important to us to make sure the customer journey.
Customer journey is the most important part.
Before and after.
I agree with you.
Like you'll see it in, with your customers, that a lot of people put in these products and then they don't put them on the right tariffs. They don't help them sell the excess energy off. They don't explain how to use the app. They don't explain all the new tariffs on the market.
And this is the most important part, and this is what we're going to be going into now, is what are the best tariffs out there? What are you recommending to people? Like, some people are getting confused. They've just got an EV charger, so they want to have solar as well.
Yep.
And then when it comes time to switch, it's a very personal thing that they have to do, and then they speak into...
Because we can't do it.
We can't do it.
That's the key part, isn't it?
We are not allowed to switch for you.
We can only recommend.
We can just recommend and advise what the best things are for you to do, but it is your decision. So get key information. So tell me the best tariffs on the market at the moment with...
Run me through the different types of customers then, because I think that is important, but there are different situations that would require different tariffs.
So say you've got a customer that they got an EV charger. They've bought an electric vehicle. It's getting delivered in the next, month or two.
Yeah.
They're just on a normal tariff at the moment. They are preempting, I'm going to be spending more on electricity.
Yep.
I've got to have an EV charger. I want to have solar and a battery as well.
Yep.
In that circumstance, what would be the 3 best options for them as tariff-wise?
So this is going to be a little bit controversial, but for the first time in 4.5 years, the best tariff in terms of numbers in return on investment is not Octopus.
Okay, wow.
And that's, like I said, that hasn't happened. So the tariff, and I've just switching over it to myself. Literally the switch has gone through today.
Oh,
so
wow.
I have some more information on it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, I've spent a lot of time discrediting other energy companies out there because they haven't had the level of service and tariffs that Octopus have.
Okay.
Now, this tariff is called Eon Next Drive V4 tariff. So, as usual in the energy industry, nice and confusing.
Yeah, big name.
Yeah, big name. But this has a tariff in my area, and this is important to I guess, explain. When you look for tariffs, and this is not a common known thing in the industry, it's like fuel prices. They base it on the mean average salary in the area.
Oh, wow.
So with fuel prices, like how can you drive 10 minutes down the road and always get fuel cheaper than this part? You know, and energy prices are the same. Energy prices are different across the UK in the different demographic and areas that you're in.
I didn't know that. Like, I see obviously when we are quoting for solar, like it has different areas. So like we've got a South Wales one. I know there's like a Midlands one.
Yeah, but there'll be different rates, won't they?
Yeah, but I never thought that they would be different rates. I just thought that they would just be different area codes for that. But yeah,
that's why they do the postcode checkers.
Wow.
When you look for a rate in there, you'll be able to check what your rate is per postcode because it's not the same everywhere.
I didn't realise that. So
Yeah.
I'm learning today as well, which is fantastic. Well, that's what I do. I want to learn as much as I can.
Yeah, well, I've looked at bills for 8 years every day, so I'm quite good with the bills. So
that circumstance, so you'd...
Yeah, so the rate, 6.7p at night in my area.
Yeah.
And they have a day rate of about 24 pence a kilowatt. Now, I would take a £1 a kilowatt day rate to get that 6.7 pence night rate because I produce my own energy in the day.
Yes.
So I'm not interested in the day rate.
Yeah.
What I do is I charge me batteries at the 6.7p at night, and their export rate is now 16.5p a kilowatt. So I am charging my batteries at nearly 2.5 times cheaper what I'm selling it out for. So the profit margin is
2.5 times more than what you're buying it for. It's literally buying something for, say, £1 and getting £2.50 back.
Which is,
if we're talking about it, you know.
When you're on a standard tariff and you're not on a solar or EV or air source tariff, you get 1 kilowatt of energy in.
Yeah.
And then the battery stores that 1 kilowatt of energy if you're not using it. And
Yeah.
then you get 1 kilowatt out.
Yeah.
So that's great. But over a summer-winter period that the UK has, you've got to get that real big boost on your money in the summer to cover that winter bill.
Yeah.
So that's the best one in terms of numbers. What would I say about the service of Eon compared to my customers?
2 seconds. So you are a subject matter expert in solar. Mm-hmm. How many panels do you have on your roof? And are you maximizing the space? And how much battery storage do you have?
So I have a 20 panel system on my roof. That's how many I can fit on the roof.
Yeah.
The maximum amount. And I have a 13.5 kilowatt battery.
Okay. Why do you have the maximum amount of panels and why do you have 13.5 kilowatt of battery?
Well, like we said before, you know, my roof is a business asset to me. It's a power station, and worst case scenario, like at the moment, as I grow into my house, you know, I don't have kids yet, but we will. And, you know, we're in the purpose of transitioning from gas to all electric. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking about. So as I know that my electricity usage is going to increase over time, I've future-proofed my house, maximised the roof space, and I've got a battery that can see me through on the highest usage days on our property. I'm still covered from the energy from yesterday, if you want to look at it in that way. But in reality, on the longest, sunniest summer days, I still buy my energy in at night through my battery at 6.7p.
Yeah.
It's currently 7p, which we'll get onto the next tariff. So you might think I'm splitting hairs going from 7p to 6.7.
Yeah.
But I just want the best return on investment. I don't care what company I go with.
So you are a subject matter expert within this industry, and the proof is in what you've done. You've got the knowledge, and you have literally, you can show your customers.
Yeah, I'll show them my bill.
That I'm not just offering this to you, I've actually done it myself.
Yeah.
And that's why you're so passionate within this.
We get that feedback as well, because there's lots of salesmen in the industry.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And don't get us wrong, we all got to earn our money. And obviously, we earn our money by installing solar systems. Yeah. But I think that tariff knowledge, I would say, is what sets a good surveyor apart from a salesperson, because you've got to be able to give the customer the information to get the best return on investment. If I've just had a customer recently that's had a system installed in 2019, and they haven't been selling their excess energy off because the company installed it well. Yeah. We went and saw it, great workmanship.
Yeah.
But they didn't know about what the best tariffs were. They didn't know how to set it up for the customer. Yeah. So for me, it made me feel sick, to be honest. 5 years worth of they've got 15 panels on a south-facing roof, never got paid any money to export it.
Wow.
It's just been going back to the grid for free.
But that's what we're going to change. We're going to put this information out there, and people are going to go on the correct tariff. What's number 2?
So number 2, if you have an EV, so I must specify just quickly on the first tariff, you only need solar and batteries to get their EV tariff, which is a massive game changer. So that's the best one if you don't have an EV, if you just have solar and batteries in terms of numbers. But Eon services are something that maybe isn't as good as the next company that we're going to. Okay. So Octopus have an intelligent Go tariff, which is 15p export. Roughly about the same, 23, 24. Like I said, it ranges on your postcode in the day rate, and a 7p import rate at night time. Now, the import rate is dependent on you having an EV car. Okay. So you just have to either connect that car once to activate the tariff. Okay. Or what I actually did on my property, a bit of a loophole in the industry, I have an EV charger with no EV car. Yeah. And that sounds a little bit odd, and I love explaining this to customers.
Yeah, explain. That's the next question I was going to ask. Can you not fit an EV charger on your installation when you're having the solar and say, I'm future-proofing my home, I'm going to have an EV charger in the future, can I go on this rate?
Yeah, so there's a few caveats to that. So Octopus only have 3 compatible chargers. So you can either connect to the tariff via the charger, or you can connect via the car. Okay. So if you connect via the charger, you have to have either a Zappi, a Hypervolt, or an Ohm. I'm not sure if I've pronounced that right.
Ohm. No, it is Ohm.
Ohm
Yeah,
charger.
it's an Ohm, yeah.
So you can connect, and that's what I did. I got a mate to come and plug his electric car in, gave him a free charge, worth about £3. So he's over the moon. Yeah. I'm over the moon now because I'm automatically gone over to that tariff, and now I can buy my energy in at 7 and sell it at 15.
You've just dropped yourself in here now. You're going to have Octopus watching the podcast and being like, Kieren, no, you can't do it.
Well, I've left now anyway.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Yeah, I've left. No, but I don't have a bad word to say about Octopus's service, to be honest. Octopus. In the energy industry,
they're amazing.
I would still, 9 times out of 10, recommend customers to Octopus. The only reason I'm going into Eon is I like to understand everything firsthand. Yes. Once I've done the process and gone through the whole system and seen the service, then I'll feel more comfortable recommending it to more customers. The numbers add up, does the service add up? Because with Octopus, their service is second to none.
Second to none. They're fantastic. I recommend Octopus to lots of our customers. Not everyone goes with our recommendations because
people don't like changing.
It has to be right for them as well. Even though we are industry experts and we know what the benefits are by working with specific companies, is still a personal choice for the customer. So
it is. Like, they might have a friend or family member that works with the business. I'd say utility warehouse is an interesting one. Yeah. That's a very interesting scheme where you can get obviously your broadband, your phone contracts, and your energy in one bill. So that's quite appealing for customers. Yeah. But they notoriously haven't had the best tariffs on the market, although they have just brought out a new EV tariff for import and export. So it's a minefield. I think there was, well over 100 different energy companies before, obviously, the energy crisis, and 28 of them, unfortunately, went bust, which is actually the reason why our standing charges are higher. Yeah. A lot of people are unsure about why standing charges are higher, but we as a taxpayer are actually paying back the debt of the companies that mismanage their business, which ironically were all the cheapest energy providers out there.
Yeah, and the problem is, when all these companies went bust, prices went up 300 to 400%, and that's why we're in the position that we're in today, which it shouldn't be the case, but the only way that we can take control back is by having our own power station on our roof with battery storage in the property,
Well, they reckon 75% of the energy produced in the UK isn't produced by UK companies.
Yeah.
So you can't tell a business what to charge.
Yeah, exactly.
So even though there's lots of different renewable sources in the UK, when they're put in by French companies, EDF, there's a lot of Norwegian and Scandinavian countries that are putting in the wind farms, like Ørsted is a big company. So what they're doing is they're selling it back to the consumer at a premium price, and the pound is a very valuable currency.
Yeah, it is. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, so EDF, what they do is they take the profits from the UK, and because it's state-owned in France, they take it back to France, and their bills are going up on an average of 4% a year, and our bills went up 300% in 18 months. It's
EDF,
the same thing.
I've actually bought a solar company as well now, and they're doing solar heat pumps and everything in-house, but all the profits are going back to France then, So I'm not going to say the name, but people need to know this information, It might look like a good package at the start, but there'll be a reason for why it is the price that it is.
It's true. Like we went back to it about the packages that they offer. They're looking for the low-hanging fruit, the easy installs. And I think if we continue to go down that route of always buying cheap, then what's going to happen is, one, you're still going to pay for the excess energy anyway. Yeah. And two, you're going to keep this movement going where the UK doesn't produce enough of its own business. We've privatised it, we've subcontracted it, we've got everyone else in just to get the price cheaper. But ironically, because we don't produce it now, we don't have control over...
we need the infrastructure. Yeah. And every single person can help towards this by being in control of their own system, understanding it properly, and then the UK can hit its net zero target earlier by us all getting on this journey together.
Well, what a lot of people don't realise is electricity prices are linked to gas prices.
Yes, of course they are. Yeah.
Which, a lot of these companies are claiming to be renewable, when in fact they're propped up by gas.
Yeah.
And gas isn't actually a renewable source.
No.
It has a finite amount.
Yeah.
Whereas, your roof is the easiest thing that you can do to go renewable, and obviously it's literally right above you, and it goes straight down into your mains meter. And the only difference is, instead of buying the power in, you're producing it yourself.
Your own power station. The benefits of how this is all going to work together within the heating and the renewable industry is we're going to find more and more a whole house approach. Okay, so I know on the grants process, they look at it as a whole house approach with regards to insulation and then everything like that. But just in the heating and the renewable sector, we have to look at it as a whole house approach moving forward, because there's going to be big change going in the gas industry. We're talking about
new builds,
new builds and everything like that. So we got the infrastructure that we need EV chargers for, because we're probably all going to be driving EV vehicles, electric vehicles
in X amount of time,
in 10, 15 years. We're going to be heat pumps, or even air conditioning units. So you can get...
That's what I'm getting in my house.
Yeah.
Reverse cycle air conditioning.
You can get air conditioning units now that can do hot and cold.
That's what I've
okay,
got,
so it's an all year approach then with regards to that. But they run off electricity as well. So, you're going to be using so much more electricity to heat your home and for us to just have a normal day's work, normal life. Well, these will pay perfectly with putting solar on the roof.
Well, we tell customers, don't look to become more efficient with your energy yet.
Yeah.
Get your own power source.
Yes.
Once you have your own power source, like I would say, I don't know, maybe 1 in 5 customers, maybe a bit more than that, have air source heat pumps
Yeah.
or an EV charger, and they get that first.
Yeah.
And then what they notice is, wow, we're paying loads more a month.
Yeah.
You're better off maximising your own power source first,
Yeah.
and then becoming more efficient with the energy that you have.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we're all going to go that way.
My approach with it is, because obviously I'm the director of the Hale Group. We do boiler installations, heat pump installations, solar and battery installations, and air conditioning installations. Like, I'm looking at it from the whole house approach, you know.
Yeah.
We can put a heating system in there that is going to be energy efficient from a proper heat loss calculation and energy efficiency rating of your home. And then we can put something that's going to generate your own electricity to power all of that, so that we can maximize savings on your utility bills, so that you can put the money towards having a better life. And that's my approach to everything. And I
think the whole house approach is really, really important.
Yeah.
You know, even though we're a specialist solar company, we work with companies like yourself that have the experience in the areas that we don't.
Yeah.
You know, because you want to work with a trusted partner that can do the work, one, to a standard that is actually not going to, like, sometimes you can have more problems than solutions if it's not done correct. So that whole house approach, I think, is really, really good, because the education in our industry is not good enough. No. Unfortunately, I think there's too many installers that are going into it because they think they're going to make a lot of money. Yeah. But in reality, they don't know how to make a lot of money for their customers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, that's our challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a customer might have a negative experience, and we get it all the time. It's like, you shouldn't have that experience. Like, you've got a really good roof. You've got a really high bill. Like, you know, we do the numbers. We do a calculator in every house, which I think is really important. We show them what they're spending now, and then we take the Office of National Statistics average rate of price increase between 2000 and 2021, which is 7%. We're not, well, we say we're not allowed. I don't think it's fair to use the 2021 to 2024 prices, because they went up 320%, came down 190%. You know, they're all over the place.
Over the 25-year plan, you know, that's extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's extreme. So do I think that's going to happen again? Yes, you know, at some point.
Yeah, but when, we don't know. So we can't tell the future. So we've got to do it off an average.
Yeah. So when you go in there and you show customers what they're going to spend in the next 5 years, what they're going to spend in the next 10 years, and then 20 and 30 years, you know, the lifetime of the systems that we're installing.
Yeah, because they're 30-year systems. Even though some of the design stuff that we do only has a 25-year projected ROI, realistically, we're putting stuff in with a 30-year product warranty. So, you know,
it's a long time.
It's a 30-year investment with 30 years of return on that investment, which is fantastic.
It's crazy. Quite often we'll show customers on a domestic setting, it's quite normal for the customer to have a payback. And I use payback in commas because everyone wants to know the payback time, and everyone wants to know the cost. You actually get the money back on day one. Yeah. The increase in your house prices, you know, if you look up the Mortgage Advice Bureau, 5
to 10%. That's what we are saying, you know.
Well, if you move a property from an E to a C, which, like an older property, will have a lower EPC.
I've just done a project when I've taken a property from a low D to an A, 98 score on EPC. It was the highest rating that the energy efficiency assessor had ever given out, and that's
because of your expertise.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of that.
That is an awesome achievement.
Yeah,
and I've got messages from customers, like, we've had our assessment come in, and it's an old Victorian house, and they were an E, and they're now up to a high B.
Yeah,
and they can sell their house for more money.
Yeah,
because it's saving them $2,000 a year.
Yeah,
so their payback was 6 years.
Yeah.
So it actually wasn't 6 years. They got the money back. Their house rose 8.8%, which is what the Mortgage Advice Bureau average by moving up 2 bands on your EPC.
Yeah.
It's public information. Go on the EPC register, type in epc.gov.uk, and you can have a look at your own property if it's been sold or bought in the last 10 years. If it hasn't been sold or bought in the last 10 years and you've lived there for a long time, look at a house next to somewhere on the street that's
Someone
similar.
will have
Yeah.
an EPC in the street.
And if you scroll down to the bottom of that EPC certificate, it will give you a list of the best things that you can do to improve the energy performance of your property. And what do you think the best thing to do to improve the energy performance is?
Put solar on your roof.
Produce your own energy.
Yeah. So another thing, if you take your property and you're in an A-rated rating, if you remortgage your property, then you can get lower interest rates because it's a more energy efficient home.
Green mortgages,
so you can sell your house for more because the person buying that property will actually have a cheaper mortgage with cheaper interest rates.
Correct.
And if you were going to refinance that property and stay in there, you can actually, which interest rates is a problem in the UK at the moment. If you make your home more energy efficient, you'll get a cheaper mortgage.
Well, part of what we also do, and a lot of customers aren't aware of it, like on my property, I don't like spending my own money. So what I've done, so I was going to be spending about £160 a month on gas and electric on my property. So I put a £0 deposit down, and then I've got a 15 grand, it's just under 15 grand green loan from Nationwide, who is our mortgage provider.
Yeah.
That's at 0% interest.
Yeah, they're doing 0% loans there, yeah.
So that's gone against the mortgage of the property, which we were already paying.
Yeah.
So we renegotiated our interest rate because we went from our old house, which was about 1.7% to 5.69%, which
shock to the system.
Yeah, that one hurt. But when we renegotiated about 4.5%, that extra money on the solar system added up to what we were already paying on the mortgage anyway.
Yeah.
So I've actually we were already paying the money.
Yeah.
So I've spent £0 of my cash in the bank, and now I'm spending exactly the same money that I was spending on the mortgage already.
And your house is worth more money.
And I'm actually making about, £60 to £70 a month averaged out over the year profit on my energy. I'm getting paid by the energy supplier. I'm not paying them.
Yeah.
And that's something that feels really good.
Yeah.
Like, you will feel good yourself when you're self-sufficient and getting paid.
And giving that to customers, our knowledge, and providing that to our customers of the options that are available and how to do these little tips and tricks is, part of the
aftercare as well.
The great thing about doing this job, and it's very, very rewarding.
You'll know yourself, like we're doing a filming week next week where we're going back to a lot of our older customers and customers that have just had installs and installs that are going in.
Yeah.
Because I think, we all like to see what other people have got done. But one of the ones we're going to, he's had a system for a year now. It's only a 10 panel system, with a 5.8 kilowatt battery. So for us, that's quite a small system.
Yeah.
That's covered all his electricity bill for the year and 90% of his gas bill. Because it's only him and his girlfriend in a 2-bed house.
Yes, people don't realise though, so instead of paying the utility company all this money, what that gentleman's actually done is taken back the control into his hands, increased the property value by having solar, reduced his utility bills, and more or less is just paying pennies on the pound for everything. And that's the power of solar generation and technically putting a power station on your roof.
Yeah, do you know what my favourite part is? When you go back and you speak to the customer and they generally just can't believe the results because it's the UK. It's cloudy. It's rainy all the time. How can solar panels do that? Well, they work in low light conditions. They're not designed to work in Australia.
It's sunlight, as long as it's daylight hours, like it doesn't matter if it's, not bright blue skies, and that's obviously better.
Oh yeah, you still get a better generation.
You still get generation, so it doesn't make that much of a difference.
When customers send me screenshots of their smart meters saying £0, 0.0 for the day, I love that because what naturally happens is it becomes a bit of a game. That's how I look at it. Yeah. It's just a game.
Yeah.
Like if I use 5 kilowatts of power in this hour, and I'm only generating 3 kilowatts, you would think I'd have a deficit of 2 kilowatts. Well, no, because I've got the right size battery in.
Yeah.
So the battery provides the other 2 kilowatts.
So you're still not paying for anything?
I'm not paying for anything. So I'm actually, you would think, it's like a chef. a chef doesn't cook at home.
Yeah.
I don't need to manage my energy usage. I can do things when I want because I produce my own energy and it's there when I need it.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, people are very conscious about when they use energy, how much they use energy. And obviously, we do need to be more conscious on that. But if you're providing it at a zero carbon cost, you're in
control.
You're environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
You've produced it yourself and you haven't spent any more money than you've already going to spend.
Yeah.
Part of that in Calculator that we show, you're going to spend that money in 7 years, for example, anyway.
Yeah.
Would you not rather spend exactly the same money through everyone's like, oh, I don't want to do finance. Yeah. We get this
finance
all the time.
is the best thing for this because you can offset your bill that you're going to spend anyway because you're using that energy, and you can literally, instead of spending, if we use simple figures like £100, so if I'm spending £200 on my bill or whatever, or £125 on my energy bill, and I can get a finance package for £100 a month and have solar on my roof, then instead of paying the utility company, I'm actually just paying the finance company.
It's Rob and Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, I've got an asset on my roof that's going to be there for the next 25, 30 years.
Investing in your house.
Investing in your house, getting more value for your home.
People buy kitchens all the time.
Yeah.
New couches, new driveways.
But you're actually, instead of just paying the utility company, you're paying the finance company and getting something with a return on your investment. It's a no-brainer for me.
I know. I think it's the way that you explain to people is everyone goes, well, I don't want to pay finance. Yeah. And I'm like, you already have a finance agreement out with your energy company. Do you pay them a direct debit every month? Yes, I do. Do you have any control over the interest that's charged?
Yeah.
Because people are saying at the moment, they're going, oh, well, what's the payback time? What's the, how much is it going to cost? Well, at the moment, you're getting negative equity.
Yeah.
You're actually going backwards. Yeah. Your cost is going up all the time. And when you get solar, your cost is coming down all the time. I absolutely love price rises.
Yeah.
They're the best thing. I cannot wait for January for myself.
Because your export goes up as well.
I'm just going to sit in my house and my system, instead of saving me $2,500 a year, is going to save me £2,750 a year.
Yeah.
Because I'll get a 10% increasing on the savings because I'm not spending that money to the energy company.
Yeah.
So I speak to my neighbour.
But the problem is people don't see that. We try to explain the best way we can, but all the person who's thinking about having solar that hasn't pulled the trigger yet is thinking, the upfront cost. But they're going to pay that anyway on the back end.
Well, the upfront cost is there.
Yeah.
Like you're spending, for example, $2,000 a year on your bills.
Yeah.
That you actually pay your energy bill a month before. you pay your January bill in December.
It's crazy,
So this way, I get paid on the back end of the month.
Yeah.
So what I've produced comes back to me. I think my best month this year was £200 profit.
Wow.
From my bills, which is June, July time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the
peak
highest.
Summer, isn't it?
So for me, that's you still pay your standing charge. So everyone doesn't like the standing charge, but I'm more than happy to do that. That goes towards the infrastructure on the grid, paying back the debt of other companies that have been mismanaged.
Yeah.
As we know, all the mistakes that happen, the taxpayer ends up paying for.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can get away from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having that knowledge on the bill and having something explained correctly and explaining finance correctly. You've got to be careful because obviously you can't give people financial advice.
Yeah, it's not financial advice. It's
just explaining your situation.
Yeah,
I explain how I've done it.
How we can help, but it's an informed decision that you get to make as the bill payer and as the consumer then of what's right for you.
Yeah, I think that's the part. Do your homework, have a little look at your bill. Yeah. There are some situations where we will actually tell the consumer that it's not worth getting it, which is the other side of it,
I've done it a few times. Like and sometimes it's hard to say, look, it may not be right for you, and some people are adamant, but
it depends what their goals are. Like if they're trying to reduce their bills by spending 10, 15 grand on a system when they're only using £35 a month, they're 80 years old.
Yeah.
They've got bills that they need to pay.
Yeah.
Like if the return on investment isn't there and their roof isn't suitable, they might need to spend 10 grand doing their roof up. They don't have the 10 grand to do the roof.
We've had that a couple of times.
So I think that's part of the ethical part of our job
It is.
I'll help you with your tariff.
Yeah.
You're spending way too much money. if you go on this tariff, you might trim that £35 bill down to £25 a month.
Yeah.
And that costs you nothing to do. And, you've got to have that ethical part in you, don't you?
Yeah, it's the most important part. From my perspective, it's definitely the most important part. So, third tariff, I know we've gone off down a tangent again.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I know it happens every show. What's the next one that you recommend?
So the next tariff is actually another Octopus tariff.
Okay.
It's called Octopus Go. And this is, again, if we're going on the EV side.
Yeah.
Octopus Go, the reason they have a different tariff called Octopus Intelligent Go and Octopus Go is certain cars are compatible.
Okay.
So some cars, and you can find the list on the Octopus. You've got a car checker.
It's readily available information on the Octopus website.
So if you can't get that tariff, you can now go on Octopus Go, which is about 8 pence a kilowatt, so it's slightly higher at night.
Yeah.
Recently, as of October the 1st, they used to only give an 8 pence export.
Yeah.
They've just changed that now to 15 pence as well.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, they are the same tariffs. I think if you're not going to go on one of those tariffs, Octopus Cozy is a really good tariff. That's specifically for people with air source heat pumps that need to keep it on for a certain amount of hours a day. I have some customers that use that. It tends to be closer to that 10 pence rate, but you might get 3 or 4 windows in the day.
Yes.
So you might have that 12 till 3 a.m., 7 till 10. Basically on any of these tariffs, if you can shift your usage outside that 4 to sort of 8 p.m.
The peak hours, if you can design it and fix it so that in the peak hours that you're not buying energy for the most amount and you're utilising battery energy or solar generation, you're onto a bit of a winner.
I'll talk about another couple of tariffs as well, because these tariffs are much more cautious to advise to customers because they require a lot of legwork on the customer's side and a lot of diligence in checking it.
Yep.
Octopus Agile
Yes.
and Octopus Tracker.
Yep.
So these two tariffs, Tracker follows the wholesale rates, so you'll get different prices at different times of the year, at different times of the day. Very similar to Octopus Agile.
That depends on the customer. Like, we've had some customers that are fanatics about
Spreadsheet
this
geeks
stuff.
love it.
Yeah,
Love
like
it.
absolute fanatics, and this is perfect for those customers, and
You can save more money on these than the tariffs that I've mentioned, but you can actually get paid to buy energy in via your battery.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of technology coming in the batteries that will do this automatically.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. There's the caveat to that where the battery company will actually control your battery. So we'll get the, I don't want any products from China conversation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everything's from
From
China.
China.
Yeah. People go, I don't want a solar system that's Chinese. And they've booked their free survey on their Chinese mobile phone. So the irony is not lost. Like, a lot of the best technology in the world comes from China, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yeah,
it's if you want to buy a cheaper system, it's going to be from China.
Yeah.
If you want to buy the best spec system, it's going to be from China.
It's good quality stuff as well, like the notion that everything from China is cheap and nasty, that's not the case, especially in this.
It used to be. It definitely used to be.
It's not now though, these products that they're going in are like top quality kit and they're there to last.
Well, I think one key example of this, I think there was a study done recently where I think we're about 200,000 electrical engineers short in the UK of what's needed for the grid and for the change into renewable energy.
Yeah.
I think there's about something like 20 million a year in China that are being trained, whether it be in UK universities or elsewhere around the world. So they invest an awful lot of money and resources and people. Obviously, they've got over 1 billion people.
Yeah,
so, there's a lot of people in there, but there's a lot of electrical engineers that go over there or so they've got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge. And the construction industry, what problem we are seeing is things are changing within the construction and the gas heating and the electrical industry, and it's training people the right way and giving people the right knowledge, apprenticeships and everything like that. It is failing at the moment, but all we can do as companies is bring young people in or people in who are willing to learn and then train them the right ways to do it. And we should be able to manage that skill drop.
It's the education, isn't it?
It's all about education.
You know, getting people in that know what they're talking about to go into customers' houses. I don't know why there's not more regulations on it. I mean, you will know, having a business in renewables, you sign up to 10 different regulatory bodies.
Yeah.
In reality, 5 of those regulatory bodies don't regulate the industry.
Yeah.
You know, which is a bit of a sad part of it.
It's challenging. You know, I can see change coming, and the way the industry is going, I do think it is positives in there. It's all a work in progress, like with everything, you know. It's difficult for these regulatory bodies to know which companies are doing things correctly and which are not, you know. And I see a lot of things, you know. In Wales, there's grants being done and with renewable energy, okay, and the grant company gets paid a lot of money to do that work in people's homes, and they're supposed to be saving people on their utility bills, right, by making their homes energy efficient.
But they're whacking them in to get paid.
Oh, right. So they're doing 2 solar jobs a day. Yeah, they're putting heat pumps in, not explaining to the customers.
To tick a box.
Just to tick a box. So they get paid. They put in like things in place that are not suitable for that home. In one case, a customer reached out to me personally and was like, they've had a grant done. They didn't run hot water in the property. So they put the heating system in, that like hot water was supposed to go in. They didn't run hot water to any of the appliances in that property because the walls were too thick. But they ticked all the boxes and the company got paid. The customers, elderly people, went without hot water throughout all last winter. For 9 months without hot water. They was boiling the kettle, washing and everything like that. They reached out to me crying. Don't know what I mean? So I just sent the boys in and we just run hot water throughout the property free of charge, you know, because it's wrong.
That's good to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm all about the community, you know, and I'm giving back in the community, and like I'm going to try and cause as much disruption as I can within this industry, the grant side, to make people aware that it can be done correctly. Just because it's free doesn't mean it has to be chucked in and you have to live with these problems. Choose the right company to do this stuff for you.
I think it comes down to marketing as well. Another reason that we left, the old business that we worked in to set up our own is people will get sucked in with free solar or free air source government grants in your area, postcode checker. Type your post in. What's the postcode in? What's your odds? Yeah. Oh, you qualify.
Yeah. Oh, happy days, I can get it. But 3 other companies can offer you the exact same product free of charge. So pick the best one that's going to look after the customer and put you on that customer journey, which is right for you.
It's correct. You know, there's a lot of council schemes like Solar Together. Yeah. I don't know if you get that too much in Wales.
No, we don't get that.
Yeah. So Solar Together is essentially, the concept I think is quite right. They crowd fund, let's just say I'll use a number of 1,000 installs in an area. So they might get 3,000 people that are interested in solar, or we'll just use solar as the example, and 1,000 go ahead with the scheme. So then they've got buying power to buy the products cheaper. But what they'll often do is, because a lot of these customers are buying on price, is they'll buy a cheap system. It might be, $8,000 for 10 panels and a 5.8 kilowatt battery, which, is quite cheap in the market. Yeah. But again, they're using 6,000 to 7,000 kilowatts. They've got plenty of space on the roof, but they haven't been educated to pick the right package. And they've sold those installs off, or paid the installer, to the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
And guess who often the lowest bidder is? Someone that just wants to bang them in quick, make as much money as possible, and they don't have the money to go back. They don't have the money to do the aftercare. They've been squeezed by this program, and quite often you see these installers, because they haven't put enough profit in the job to go back and sort the problems out, to pay their staff fairly, to grow as a business, to be able to grow the different parts of a business that are going to support.
There's no aftercare.
Yeah. So what happens is these customers have paid a lower price, but they now don't know exactly how to get the benefits from the system. The aftercare is not there, and they might have a bad taste in their mouth and think, God, I thought this was all meant to be a lot different. And you see it all the time. That's just one example. There are cases where that isn't the case.
Yeah.
And people are looked after.
I'm trying to do a couple of projects in Wales now where we're looking at a full community. We're trying to get a plot of land and do our own solar farm for that community, as well as put solar on properties within the village or the community, and set up a structure for that community where they can get lower electricity costs because we've put an infrastructure
Group
in
buying,
for them.
It's like district heating.
Yeah,
Similar
yes,
concept,
it's very similar. So I'm currently working on this now. I've got lots planned. It is challenging. We're hoping to get help from the Welsh government so that we can give back to communities in Wales. So watch this space. I'm very excited about that in 2025.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's why we like, we were drawn to work together because of the ethos of, fixing other people's mistakes, doing a good job.
Giving back.
And I think, I'm excited also. We've got a lot of projects that we're working on together.
Lots and lots of stuff that we're doing together, which is really exciting.
It is.
Another one that we're going to be doing together is the commercial stuff. So it's one of the key reasons why I wanted to have you here, as well as the tariffs, is talk to me about what you're doing in the commercial side of the industry. What benefits are the businesses having from the things that you're doing? But not just businesses, schools, universities, private schools, especially with the new Labour government, with the things that they are bringing in. Explain to me what you're doing. So
there's no denying that the scale reduces the payback time.
Yeah.
So if we're doing a school at the moment in Scotland, they're using 1.6 million kilowatts a year. Compared to the average household of 3,500 kilowatts of electricity usage a year, that's obviously massive.
What's the bill a month?
So they're spending well over $100,000 a year.
So 10 grand a month.
Yeah, I think actually that bill is even higher. Sorry, that bill. They've got 15 different meters. So when we come to do a survey there, it's quite a bit harder. You've got 15 different meters and logistics. So their total spend is astronomical compared to the average. So. This is a private school in Scotland. They are going to feel they're charging VAT on school fees now.
Yeah.
So essentially there's a 20% hole in their budget.
Yeah.
So what we're doing there is a lot of schools in particular are cash strapped from the energy crisis quite often.
Yes.
The energy crisis, you think of this scale.
And this is affecting children now. So not only is it affecting us as homeowners, it's starting to affect our children in the school system.
Yeah, in the education sector, public schools, not just private. So, we're looking at the Royal Agricultural University at the moment, doing a solar carport there because it's a listed building. They've got their own challenges. So there's a couple of ways that these commercial businesses can do it. So we have a fully funded option, which is very popular.
Yeah.
The best way to describe this is essentially a pension fund that needs to get guaranteed returns for its investors, is looking to not only tick the ethical box of doing more ethical things, which is a great thing, but also they need returns. And what's more guaranteed than an electricity spend? Because it's not going anywhere. The whole world's going electric. So, for example, they might be spending 30 pence a kilowatt on a 5-year fixed commercial deal. So they have to spend 30 pence for every kilowatt.
Yeah.
We'll go in and install the system for free.
Yep.
Commission the system for free, maintain the system for free, because that school is essentially going to buy the energy off the pension fund. But it's at 15p a kilowatt.
So you're saving 50%. You're getting a complete solar power station. What's the downfalls in that?
So a lot of people are skeptical. Well, it's free, and we have touched on the rent your roof schemes.
Yeah. So you're renting your roof, really,
Well, no one is more motivated to make sure that system is maintained and cared for properly than the pension fund, who's been around for many, many, many years. They're not going anywhere. It's not like a small one-man band that's putting solar on your roof.
Yeah.
This is a very powerful organisation.
Yes.
It might cost them, for example, 10p a kilowatt to physically install it and maintain it. It might take them 10 years to get their original investment back.
Yeah.
But because They're going to replace the inverters when they go. They'll replace the panels. They'll replace the parts. They only make their money from the energy that the school buys off them.
Yeah, it's a turnkey installation. It's
So
everything.
they might be spending 500 grand a year beforehand, and now they're spending 250 grand a year. So they've now got 250 grand a year more than they had last year for no expense.
To invest back into education, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. To improve the systems and services
Yeah.
and provide a better offering for their students.
Yeah.
So schools are really, really important, I think, because I think everything we talk about starts with education.
Yeah,
So
of course.
education needs to be important.
Yeah.
And they use a lot of energy in daylight hours.
Yeah.
I don't know many schools that are nighttime schools.
No, I mean, and Hale Heating is going to be partnering with KMM to provide this service for schools, university, private schools, businesses, if you've got a big enough roof space, across Wales. So I'm very, very pleased to be announcing that today.
Yeah, cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
thanks for facilitating.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm very happy.
It's the knowledge about it as well, because a lot of people need it explained properly, because that sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the money, like we talked about on domestic, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
You're going to give that money to an energy company. It's now cheaper to buy energy off a bank
Yeah.
than it is off an energy company, because renewable energy is cheaper per
Yes.
kilowatt. So if you spend the money, someone else will come in and spend it. There's other ways you can do it. When we're not talking about massive usages like a school, maybe you've got a warehouse.
Yes.
You've got a warehouse that's using 100,000 kilowatts a year.
Yeah.
So still really big usage.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'm doing one at the moment that's using 81,000 kilowatts a year. So we'll use them as an example. And we're putting in 160 panels there.
Yeah.
Now they're doing it on a business finance deal.
Yes.
So this is not fully funded. So they will own the whole.
They pay the finance.
Yep, same concept of the domestic.
Yep.
We've actually got it so that it's about £100 a month cheaper than what they're paying at the moment. So even though they're paying a finance rate to a business, which is the same as paying a finance rate to an energy company,
Exactly.
you know, that 10%, it's already gone up 10%.
Yeah. It's
So-
going to go up again.
Yeah, that 10%. So what they're actually doing is it's £500 a month for them.
Yeah.
Now they're spending £600 a month at the moment. So it's £500 a month over a 7-year term
Yeah.
with a 30-year warranty on the panels.
Wow.
So yes, they are spending that money. Nothing is drastically changing month to month in their business.
Yeah.
But they're investing in their future. We're all going renewable. They're getting EV chargers thrown in. They've got battery storage,
Net zero target.
net zero target. So in year 7, when the system's paid off, and there's no fee to overpay, by the way, as well in a lot of these business. Some are, some aren't. So make sure you look at the terms and conditions.
Yes.
Always try and get a balance reducing loan if you can.
Yeah.
And the reason that's important is if you come into money, you have a good year, and this applies to both domestic and commercial.
I agree.
To have that ability to pay the loan off means that, like in my case, on my old property, I had a 10-year finance agreement at 10.9%.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually pay 10.9% because I sold my property in year 3. What I did is I paid off the excess that I needed to, and I only paid 3.3% on that money.
Yeah. That's the benefits, you know, of knowing your home, knowing the installation that you're having, knowing your finance package, and dealing with professional people like ourselves. Getting this key information, you can save a lot of money.
Yeah.
Than just, we can do this at this, you know, it's
They were
£1,000 cheaper.
Yeah,
don't know what I mean?
I'm like, mate, they are thousands of pounds more expensive.
It's the
because you're gonna pay
value for money that you get by going with subject matter experts, you know, and
the best people in, like, we all have, obviously most people have jobs, right? Now, there's no denying that you should get paid more the better you are at your job.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people obviously out there now that are going to agency work or self-employed, and you get paid more for the knowledge that you have.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that knowledge comes at a price. The price is, if you don't pay for that knowledge, you're going to pay more anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm saying this to a customer I've got at the moment. He's like, wow, that's $6,000 more than what I've been quoted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's because what you got quoted was for a 5 kilowatt battery, and you're using 8,000 kilowatts a year. So if you divide that 8,000 by 365, well, I should get my calculator to get exactly.
Yeah.
But let's just say, for example, it's 25 kilowatts a day. What's a 5 kilowatt battery going to do for them?
Nothing.
You know what I mean? So in the winter months, you can cover 1/5 of your usage.
Yeah, but people don't understand. Well, people are not getting advised the right way. That's
so your bill might be a £200 a month bill, might be £150 a month in the winter.
Yeah.
Why would you invest so much? Why would you invest 12 grand into a solar installation that's going to cover 25% of your bill in the winter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might as well invest in a bigger battery.
Yeah.
And that's the education side of it. You know what I mean? That money's spent. It doesn't matter. You're either going to give it to your energy company on domestic or commercial.
It's going out the door one way or another.
You might
make it work for you.
Yeah, give it back to yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and you know, businesses now, like I'm doing one at the moment, so it's 51 industrial units. What they're actually doing is they're producing the energy and then they're selling it back to their tenants at a cheaper rate. It's the same concept of the PPA.
Yeah, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah,
a couple of months ago.
They're selling it back to the tenants of their properties at a cheaper rate than what they're paying now.
Yeah.
So the tenants are actually essentially financing the solar installation.
But
and it's saving everyone.
The person who has all the properties within that scope, they actually become an energy company then. So they are in control. Mm-hmm. You know, and all the tenants are paying for it all anyway. So really, it's a no money down deal. So, you know, if you've got something like that, utilize roof space, utilize the packages that you can offer to people, and it will be very beneficial for you.
Not just, so we've obviously done schools, we've talked about warehouses. Another one that we're doing quite a lot of at the moment, which is quite an interesting space, is HMOs.
Yeah.
Now,
we've done a couple of these.
Yeah, HMOs are an interesting one because it is a business.
Yeah.
You're renting your property out to young professionals, or not always young professionals, but generally.
HMOs and service accommodation, this works both for.
Correct. So what it is quite often that landlord or business owner will be paying for the bill up front.
95% of the time, the HMO owner or the service accommodation owner will be paying for the bill. In some cases...
They might sub-meter it.
Yeah, but in some cases, that bill could be north of £1,500 a month.
Correct.
Yeah, so...
Especially like the higher bespoke ones, like we're doing some lodges at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've got 4 hot tubs for the 4 lodges.
Yeah, exactly.
That are running 24/7.
Yeah.
So I reckon the hot tubs are probably using 50% of the overall usage. They're big energy suckers.
Yeah.
In COVID, you probably remember, everyone was getting hot tubs because they couldn't travel.
Everyone got them.
Yeah. So what they didn't realise is that, used for an example, £1,000 hot tub isn't £1,000. It's £40 a month.
Yeah, exactly.
It's after the £1,000 because
Yeah.
you've got to buy the energy. So on these, a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to get the benefit out of it because I don't live at the property.
Yeah.
You pay the bill.
Yes.
So that hurts your bottom line.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Or your top line, sorry. It hurts your profit margins.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can incorporate it into your nightly rate in service accommodation, or in HMOs. What you can do is, obviously, if you're paying the bill already, you can make the rates cheaper for customers.
Yeah.
You can make it more attractive to the people that are coming in.
Yeah.
People want to live in properties that are more renewable, whether they're renting or buying them.
Yeah.
I've got a farm that's just put in a pretty large system.
2 seconds. So the HMO side of it, so to put her into perspective, we recently done a quotation for someone who had a HMO. It was a large HMO. Like I said, they had
the one we were talking about.
They had a very big bill, okay? They could fit, say, 30 panels on this HMO, and over the lifetime of the system, it would have, a return on their investment was over £600,000.
Yeah.
It's
compounded.
Yeah, because they were saving, I think they was paying like £2,000 a month or whatever, so it was a 24 grand a year.
Yeah, bill. It wouldn't cover all of it.
Electricity bill, but the savings per year was around £13,000 to £15,000 if we just work just off the savings side of it. So over that 30-year period, like
as bills go up and up and up.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was like a crazy.
I think
savings on the HMOs. So like if you've got a HMO, like you can save so much money for yourself. Yes, it's not potentially like.
It's a business expense.
Yeah, it is a business expense.
You claim the VAT back.
Yeah.
because there is 20% VAT on commercial.
Yep.
There's no VAT on domestic.
Yeah.
There's no VAT on domestic battery installations now when there was before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think businesses, it's been pushed back a couple of times.
Yeah.
But the legislation's coming where you're going to have an EPC rating of C or higher in order to have a buy-to-let property.
Yeah, to be a
big
landlord.
buy-to-let market. We're getting a lot of older customers coming back to us to now put it on their property that they're letting out, that they don't live in, that the customer pays the bills.
Yeah.
Because, like I said again, people want to live in renewable houses.
Yeah. Whoever pays the bill should definitely be looking at how to reduce that, because bills are only going to go one way, and that's up.
Yeah.
And if you can utilise any roof space to maximise savings, which for me it's all about maximising savings, then solar's a no-brainer.
I think, and obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but from our experience in the industry, I think what's going to happen in particular over the next 10 years is I think we're going to see gas and oil prices in particular go up first.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And the reason they'll do that is we only make changes when it hits our pocket.
Yeah.
So as gas and oil prices go up, these big energy companies like Shell and BP are now renewable leaders.
Yeah, I know.
So you have a laugh at that because obviously they've gone from fossil fuels to now renewable leaders.
Yeah.
But it's because you've got to follow the money.
Yeah.
So
Sun's the new oil.
Yeah, it is.
No,
Yeah.
the sun. Yeah, the sun
Yeah,
is
it's
the
the
new
new
oil.
oil. Yeah.
Yeah. So we everyone was making money off gas, oil, and everything like that. Like you see solar farms going up all over the country. You see.
I'll tell you what, on the solar farms, just quickly, there's about 6 going in there where I live in Lincolnshire. Big, and Labor's approved 3 of them recently.
Yeah.
Now, the problem I have with solar farms is we do a lot of shows where we meet a lot of farmers.
Yeah.
You would think that I'd be a massive fan of solar farms.
Yes.
I am, but with one caveat.
Okay.
A lot of these companies that are putting in the solar farms are foreign companies.
Yep.
So what happens is, and I know EDF is building a few of them.
Yeah.
Quite often they're funded by the Chinese, built by the French.
Yeah.
It's like Hinkley Point, the power station. A lot of these are over budget. It doesn't matter. It's taxpayer money. They're going to get their money back on the kilowatts that they charge the people on the back end of the job.
Yeah.
So all these farms are, can we farm, pigs, sheep, cattle, dairy farms, arable farms? All these regulations are getting squeezed. It's harder and harder to become a farmer now.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, if I'm going to work these 15-hour days, I can earn the same, if not more money by just whacking up a solar farm there.
Yeah.
And they take the highest bidder.
Yeah.
It might be between £800 and £1,150 an acre these farmers are getting.
I know.
And it's not actually going to help the country. You lose the farmland.
Or the community. So another thing is, wind turbines. So in Wales, there's obviously wind turbines going up all over. There's one proposed in a village not far away from here, around 30 minutes. And I was speaking to some community leaders within the village and the area that they're putting in. And one of the things, he's not against it because he's a believer in renewable energy. He's got solar on his house. He's had solar on his house probably 10, 15 years ago.
Feed-in tariff on.
Yeah. And I was chatting to him and he said, I see obviously the pros and the cons against it, but one thing that should be different is that if you were put in a solar farm or wind turbines in an area, then that community has to put up with it. Obviously, it's getting built in their community. There should be benefits. They should have lower utility bills because they've got to drive down and see where was a picturesque view before. In the valleys, there's lots of mountains.
Up the valleys, bud.
Yeah. Where there was a picturesque view before, now there's 3 or 4 wind turbines in that picture. So,
it doesn't make the energy cheaper, does it?
No, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
So the generation should get fed back into the community. Yes, you've got to sell it and the company's got to make a profit. I understand that. But there should be benefits for the community so that they can lower their utility bills.
I have seen some examples, and I think this is a good example to see what can be done. So we're doing a system on a village hall at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've got a big solar farm down the road.
Okay.
The solar farm actually did put solar panels on both the Scout Hall and the Village Hall.
Yeah, I think it's
at
important.
the time.
Yeah.
And they did invest in and that is a rare thing though. I mean, you don't see it very often.
Oh, they are putting money into the community. Like, you know, they put in like 20 grand into the local rugby club.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing
like
to do.
that. But that's not the everyday
That's not the
user as
household.
well. Like if you were if you were generating electricity by putting a big infrastructure in place, then surely there should be a way that the community benefits from that as well. You know, even if it's a couple of pence per unit, let's look after the communities that these things are going into.
I think quite a lot of the problem is, and this is a bit of a complicated topic, but sleeving. What that means is you might get power generation up in Scotland, but they need to transfer it on the grid to London.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of the renewable energy isn't in these high population areas.
Yeah.
So they have to spend a lot of money bringing the power from X, Y, and Z back to where they need it.
Yeah.
You know, a really interesting one, which I found a bit ironic. I had a farmer that had, I think, 8 megawatts on his property. So it was a big farm. He's pretty much filled fields and fields of solar panels. I still had to go in there and put solar on his house.
Yeah. That's
Because it doesn't subsidise his. He gets paid good money by a foreign company to, you know, and he still has to, obviously it's funded to a degree by that from the profits, but he still has to, you know, and I think that is the issue. These community run projects like Ripple, I don't know if you know Ripple Energy. No. It's quite a good one. So I've invested in that for our office where, because our office is an old vicarage, it's listed, you can't get solar on that. There are caveats to listed buildings where you can get it, but they don't have the land.
Okay.
We've basically invested in a cooperative style solar installation down in Devon, where they'll produce the energy there and then offset it against our bill at the office.
That's a really good idea.
And that's crowdfunded by the community. So this is something that if you can't get solar on your property, maybe you're a renter, or you don't have, you know, you've got 6 skylights, 4 chimneys and 10 roofs, you know, which are a nightmare in a surveyor's job. You know, sometimes it just doesn't make sense. The costs outweigh the benefits. What you can do is you can invest in these co-op schemes where you put, for example, we've spent £5,000 and we put £5,000 over there, and that's going to give us a return. I think it's going to take about 4 years to pay back, but it's a 30-year program. Yeah. So even though our business has invested that money, it'll take us 4 years to get that money back. Our office isn't a high user, you know, compared to other offices. So, you know, it's going to cover our bill based in a solar installation in Devon.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I didn't know about that. Like stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so there are schemes out there, but quite often they're diluted with the Facebook, Google, Instagram adverts of poor marketed companies that give misinformation, and it discredits the good organisations out there, because let's be honest, we all deep down wants the best thing for the best price.
Yeah, but what I'm seeing, like obviously because we talked about this earlier, we're involved within this industry, then all our feeds are other companies
full of solar.
Yeah, like doing
energy
things
companies
for like dirt cheap and like driving the cost of everything down. But what we've actually got to do is, because we know the value of what we offer to our customers and to the community, is we may be a little bit cheap, a little bit more expensive
on day one.
But it's the total value that we represent for that customer is way greater.
What I say to a customer is, right, you might have a quote for 13 grand and ours is 15 grand. Our system's going to deliver you 150 grand's worth of savings. Yeah. That system's going to deliver you 100 grand worth of savings. Is it worth spending 2 grand more on day one to get 50 grand more over the lifetime?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and when you can show it in that way, and you know, you've now got all the help from start to finish and all the right tariffs. Yeah. Do you think it's worth? You know, because we pay our installers very well. Yeah. You know, because they're the best installers. Yeah. You know, like yourselves, you know, you pride yourself on your work. We're not trying to bang in 1,000 jobs a month.
No, it's about quality, not quantity.
You know, we've come from that industry. Yeah. Me and Steve in particular have come from that industry of volume, quantity, next job. There's the customer gets lost in the massive business.
Customer journeys. So important.
So I think the key in our industry is if you're a consumer and you're looking at going with a renewable company, make sure they've come to the property.
Yep.
Number one. There's so many businesses out there. Oh, they're $1,000 cheaper. They haven't come to the company. They haven't come to the property.
And just taking an aerial photo and being like, yeah.
They can't tell the roof pitch.
Yep.
Because unless you see the property, the aerial image cannot accurately work out your square meterage of the roof without knowing the roof pitch.
Yep.
So it might look like you can fit 10 panels on there, and you get there on the day and you can fit 6.
Yep.
You've already spent the money. Oh, we'll give you a couple of $100 back.
Yep.
What are you going to do? Wow, it's already up there.
Yeah, it's the problem.
So I see that all the time. So yeah, you've paid cheaper on day one. Then I get a phone call, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Can you help me on the tariffs? Because obviously we do free quote analysis as part of our business.
Yep.
Free tariff advice, free, lots of different value parts to make sure.
Yeah.
So make sure you get someone out to the property.
Yep.
Make sure they look at your electricity bill.
Yep.
It's
the most important part.
Yeah, like we did a bit of competitor analysis recently. Steve came down.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 of the solar surveyors didn't look at the bill.
Yep.
I'm like, so how do they know what package is? Oh, it's because 10 panels fit on that roof.
Some people even put the proposal on the wrong roof.
Yeah.
They literally come...
Well, they're all different.
Yeah, they come to the property with a proposal of what they're going to install on the property, and it was the wrong house in the street. It was a street over.
There is a science to solar when realistically you should actually be quoting the same system for that one customer.
Yeah.
Because they have one set of circumstances. It's not debatable.
Yeah.
It's fact.
Yeah.
They are using this much and they have this much roof space.
Yeah.
Max out the roof space. Go lower on the batteries if you don't have the financial resources to start with.
Or go as a start. Some people want to just see, okay, if I put this, but then...
Especially if they've just moved in.
Yeah.
They've just moved in. We don't have all the data.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to retrofit batteries.
Yeah.
It's not easy to retrofit solar.
No, I agree.
You'll pay for the scaffolding in. You'll pay for the labour. You'll pay for the electricians. You'll pay for the roofers.
Yeah.
You'll pay for, a new inverter.
Yeah.
The inverter that you've spent a grand plus on, $2,000 plus on if it's a big house, you have to now take that inverter out and rebuy a new one to fit the extra panels in there.
Yeah, but you don't have to do that for batteries.
You don't have to do that.
You can start off small, and it's very, especially with Fox, and there's other batteries that now are modular and stackable. Then it's important that you get all this information, because some batteries you have to have one unit on the wall, and then you've got to have a complete other unit on the wall.
So now you've got a wall full of batteries.
Wall full of batteries, where some of the other ones like Fox and some other ones, you can
even
stack.
Tesla Powerwalls. One of the people, like, I've got a Give Energy battery on my house, for example. It's an all-in-one unit. Okay, it looks like one battery.
Yeah,
it's not. There's 4 batteries in there.
Yeah.
So
it's sold to you as one battery.
Yeah, they always have a BMS, so a brain.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird, but you'll have a master and a slave as a minimum.
Yeah.
Every battery is actually made up of 2 batteries, a controlling brain of the battery called a BMS, and then you'll have the slave, which is regulated by the first battery.
Yeah.
With Fox, for example, which is one of our favourites, very good customer service.
Yeah.
It's the skyscraper model. You don't have to fill up your whole walls. You can literally have one battery and then take the brain off and add another one on.
And then put the brain back on. That's why I love Fox. The stackable option is great.
And Tesla's a great option as well.
Yep.
Obviously you've got that off-grid capability, which is,
and it's Tesla.
For me, I really like. Like, that's why I went with Give Energy at the start. I didn't feel like Tesla was there yet. I feel like the new Powerwall 3.
Oh, yeah.
I want that on my next property. There's no denying. I keep getting different products, just like I get different tariffs.
Yes.
To be an expert in the industry, you can't just say that is the best.
I agree with you.
You need to get the first-hand experience of all the different tariffs.
And with technology changing all the time and improving all the time, you can't just stick to one lane. Get the best knowledge, and the industry's changing. There's different leaders at different times with different products. So let's get all this information and let's pass this to the customers.
Well, I think that's why, one of our, questions that we get asked in our business is, because we're an energy consultancy, the KMM team does not physically, the surveyors do not physically install the systems.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go, well, why wouldn't we go straight with an installer direct rather than an energy consultancy? Well, everyone goes, well, where are you getting your money from? Well, all these installation businesses are paying commission to their sellers. They're paying commission to the marketing.
Yeah.
They're going to be spending the money regardless. but they won't have that one dedicated project manager.
Yeah.
So what we do that's a little bit different is we work in partnership with people like yourself that are great installers, great at what you do. You spend a lot of time on the installation part of the business.
Yes.
We spend a lot of time on the tariffs, the products, the surveying, so we're very front end based, so we can make sure that we get the right thing for you guys to go and fit.
Yes, definitely.
And we can spend 100% of our time looking after the customer, and you can spend 100% of the time making sure the system is fit for purpose, installed correctly, maintaining it, software checks, and together we can give that complete package for the customer, because like I said before, there's loads of electricians that can bang in solar, but they don't know how to deal with the customer before and after.
You say that, it's still relatively new to most of them anyway as well, they're learning as they go in as well. So,
exactly.
It's a complicated area.
It is, and I think that's why partnerships work well. Because we're good at a certain part, you're good at a certain part, and get someone, going back to what you need to look at the house, make sure you've got someone that you can ask a lot of questions to and they know the answer. Because we rattled a few surveyors when they came around to do quotes on the house.
It was fantastic.
Because how can you not do those things? You haven't measured the house. You haven't looked at where you're going to put the inverter and the batteries. You haven't looked at the energy bill.
The worst part, every single one of them was different.
It's going to confuse people.
The information that each one gave was completely different to the next one. And
who's training these people?
No one, that's the problem. I was sat there as the customer. And the first one come in and I thought, okay, it wasn't great.
You guys were a throuple, weren't you?
Yeah, I thought we won't go into that. Naomi will kill me. So we sat there. The first one come in, wasn't great. So me and Steve had a chat about there, and we said, okay, next one come in. Was even worse. The next
Why were they bad? Give me a reason why you thought they were bad. Because obviously Steve knows. Yeah,
wrong information. Not going over bills. Wrong house. Don't know what I mean? But we had one that come in and she was fantastic, and I was very impressed. It was very much what we do as a company, and she gave the right information. There was no talking bad about other companies.
That's a really cheap tactic.
Yeah, there was no discrediting other people and saying that they was the best because they do X, Y, and Z, or they use X, Y, and Z products.
How many people will come to your house with the worst products with the worst company?
Yes.
None.
They was telling us that the products that they was giving were the best, and they had 20-year lower warranties, and
it's just because that's what they've got in the warehouse.
Yeah, that's what they're just selling their cheap stock to people who doesn't know what the correct thing is to be putting on at this time. And it opened my eyes massively that what we're doing at Hale Heating is beneficial for customers.
Yeah,
and I'm proud to say that.
Yeah, and it is. We've done it also near our house. I got quotes on my neighbour's house.
Yeah,
and it's I appreciate it when it's done well. I had a few quotes to get me loft boarded. Okay. So I got through. This is a bit off topic, but it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's just we talk about the survey process in trades, and it's the same for loft, for insulation, for boilers, for solar. Yeah. It should be the same process for construction.
Well, I had one that measured the outside of my property and gave me a quote on my loft. So he knew the dimensions of the loft. He hadn't even gone in the loft. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's all done up. He's like, I got 7 other surveys today to do. What do you think? I'm like, I'm thinking
yeah, mate, cheers.
You haven't seen the loft yet, mate. I thought that's going to be the number one thing. Now, the next guy's come in and he's had a look at the loft. He's gone up there. He's had his torch. He's had a little look around, and he's gone, right, and he was pretty good. And I probably, if I hadn't have got that third quote, not appreciated how good the third one was.
How it should be done.
The third one comes in, tape measure. I'm up there. I'm understanding it. He's showing me all the different products. He's showing me the benefits of going with this one. He's showing why, even though that one's more expensive on day one, you can fit more things through your loft hatch. You've got got a better ladder that has less points of breakage. We're going to cover not only this area, but he asked me what my goals were.
Yeah.
And he tailored the package around my goals.
I bet you went with that, dude.
Went with that one.
Yeah.
And they weren't the cheapest.
Yeah,
They were the most expensive.
Yeah, but you know what you get, and you know there's value for money.
Yeah.
And you go through. You've done the right thing of why I preach on this show. Get 3 people in, sit down with them, discuss the whole package.
And don't be afraid to ask them tough questions.
You'll know straight away the right company for you.
Yeah.
And yes, it may be a little bit more expensive, but that's a personal decision that you need to make then. If you're serious about having it done, get it done right.
Yeah. And have a look at the reviews, customer testimonials. Like, I don't know about yourself. I was a bit lazy recently and I bought a jacket off Facebook, right? Didn't check the reviews. Company was a scam. So I've lost me 50 quid. No. And I felt a bit humorous, a bit ironic because I'm so investing in like the way that we do it. But you get a bit lazy sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
So when you look at a company, look at what other people are saying. Yeah. Because that is the best indication. Look at other people that were at your stage of the journey. Look at other people that are at the end of their journey or a year down the line or, that's going to be the best indication of a company. We get 50% of our business from referrals. Yeah. And that is the thing that makes us feel the best.
Yeah, check the reviews, Google reviews, Trustpilot reviews if they've got them.
Yeah, Facebook's a good one.
Facebook.
We all know that we're much more likely to put our truth on social media.
Yeah.
We hide behind a keyboard and some people will put some real serious things on Facebook. Have a look at their Facebook if it's or their Instagram. If it's not active on there, if it's not active on these different parts, they could have a really nice brochure with a really nice...
Like Google, just Google the company, see what it says. Yeah. And, it doesn't lie.
No.
Like there's big companies around by me that have got, like you see their vans everywhere, right? They got lots and lots of vans. You think that must be a good company. But you look them up and 50% of the reviews are abysmal.
I'll give you a good example. So Eon have removed their Trustpilot account because it was at 1.8 stars. Now I had lots of customers go, they do interest-free finance. It's only, 10 grand for that package and yours is 13 grand. I'm like, yeah, but they're just subcontracting out all the work to the cheapest one-man bands, and they don't care if they go bust because it's on Eon's name. Yeah. But you don't actually, quite often you're not actually signing a contract with that energy company. They're, there's lots of different partnerships going on now, and some are good and some are bad. Yeah. I think.
So let's speak about that a little bit. So the Octopus Trusted Partner Scheme, we're looking at being a part of that. I've been in touch with Octopus, and I'm hoping we get a green light next week. But you were further down that journey than I am. So explain to me what that means for customers.
So, like I said, I don't have a bad word to say about Octopus. Yes. They're turning down 20,000 customers a month across their air source, EV and solar divisions. Okay. And the reason they're doing that is their model is they only want the easy installs. They want the low-hanging fruit, which is very, very common, I would say, with the utility companies getting involved in solar. Yeah. They sell it on the back of their name. They've already got the customer base, haven't they? Yeah. That they can put the marketing out to. And if, and I'm generalising, but they won't do slate roofs. They won't do flat roofs. They won't do ground mounts. They won't do larger than a certain panel. They won't do multiple roofs.
So the tricky installs, they don't want to be
quite often they're not tricky. They're tricky for them.
Yeah, but they, like you said, they want the easy stuff.
They want to be there a couple of hours, one day. The package systems.
Yes,
they sell packages.
Yep.
Now, what they're doing is because they don't have that expertise or area coverage, what they're doing is they've vetted over 2,100 renewable companies. And they've picked, I'm not sure the exact number, but when I was on the call a couple of weeks ago, I think they've picked about 500 of them to be trusted partners. So we're on the onboarding process as well. So we've been approved as an Octopus trusted partner. And that means that when they can't service their customers, you'll get an option at the end. And you'll get between 1 to 3 customers that are Octopus trusted installers. That they've done a 50-point check vetting that company. And the 2 main parts that they vet is customer service and quality of install. Yeah. And guess what the best way to vet those are? you look at the reviews, you look at their website, you look at their social media, and that is the main way that, because obviously you can't meet every single installer and look at every single install. It's not possible, is it?
Especially big companies.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing that obviously, we're going to become in the industry.
Part of, yeah. I'm proud to be able to.
Me too,
tell customers that.
Because obviously Octopus is a great company to be affiliated with, so we'll have it on our shirts, our vans, our websites, and that basically means that they are dedicated to growing small, medium enterprises that have the same ethos and values to achieve the net zero target. We're, just to be clear, they're not going to sell leads. They're not selling your information. They're just merely offering options of local installers in your area.
As a bespoke pack, because we can offer more than what they can.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They understand that they're experts in what they're experts in, but they know that they need to partner with another company.
Yeah.
So that's why Octopus is going to recommend us, but they're not going to do the installation.
Yeah.
So just like for us, we go into the house and we recommend the best installer that can do that need, and we recommend the right installer in the right area.
Who do you recommend in Wales?
Hale Renewables, mate. We recommend Hale Renewables. But that's because, we want a local installer. We want someone that if something goes wrong, like everyone's like, oh, we've gone with a national company based in, for example, Manchester. It's like you live in Cornwall, so that company, like, when are they next going to drive down to go check on your system?
Do you know what? Like, I'll tell you a story by you now. So, a customer in Swansea, Christmas time, ex-forces, and everything like that. And he'd gone on the internet and he'd had a solar installation, and he'd bought it off of a company in Leeds. Like, I don't know what renewable companies are like in Leeds, but they'd done this installation and it was middle of winter, right? They had the solar installation, they put the hot water tank and everything in, and they had a two-port powered by the solar and everything. I shouldn't laugh, I'm not laughing. They installed it, and for 12 weeks after, he didn't have no heat and hot water, and his solar wasn't working. And
when are they coming back?
Oh no, but this is it. So he got to his wit's end then. He still owed 50% on it or whatever. He said he's not paying.
And you shouldn't pay more than 25% up front, just so you know.
And then
Would be covered.
And then they asked him to get a local company out to come and inspect their work and advise him on how to use it, because they were saying it was user error, right? How to use it, and I went out there personally, and I said, nah, they've wired all this wrong, like none of it's working. Now your boiler there was no power to the boiler because they wired it all up wrong.
Why did they put like an immersion heater divert or something?
They just destroyed everything. It was just a thing. So
they would have been the cheapest price for him though.
Yeah, but what I actually did is I wrote like a full report of everything was wrong, and I give it to him, and he gave it to his solicitor, and they sent it to them, and in a day they was back, and it was fixed within the week.
You shouldn't have to do that though.
No, I know, yeah, but like that's what you've got to be careful of. If you go for the lowest price, they could be in somewhere that's 200 miles away from you, and then you're left up the creek without a paddle.
In our industry, we'd love to say every job goes in without problems.
That's not true.
It's not true. We've got a job at the moment which has been very problematic. Yeah. It got installed with a catenary wire 35 metres from the barn to the house.
What area was that in?
So that is near Leicester.
Oh, okay.
So near Leicester. So
Midlands way.
Yeah, so north of Hereford, west of sort of Birmingham, Worcester sort of area.
Okay.
So that customer, they've already had a solar system.
Yeah.
This was the customer I was actually telling you about.
Is that the one?
That hasn't been paid for the excess since 2019. So they got the system installed. The company obviously didn't get a permit to put in the catenary wire, because when we've approached the highways to try and close the road to then put in the new system alongside, they said that it hasn't got a permit. So they quoted the customer $6,000 now to bury the cable under the highways.
Oh my God.
And that's because it wasn't done right the first time. And then what's happened now is, because that cable can only hold a certain amount of power, they can't have the system that they wanted. They can't have the car charger that they wanted. So we're now having to buy bespoke parts that aren't a standard package, that we're getting ordered in from different places, monitoring systems that are remote to transmit. So this is like real bespoke type solutions to fix the problem. And understandably, the customer's a little bit impatient. There's been issues with the job, delays with the job. But, I was speaking to them this morning. I'll give them a call again this afternoon. You've got to be willing to put in the time to solve all the problems, not just the easy ones.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a challenging environment that we're in. Everyone wants instant gratification, but that's not always the case.
Roof tiles are going to break. You'll get the odd leaks. Scaffold will have damage. And that's why it's really important to look at your workmanship warranty that you get. We only work with installers that do large workmanship warranties. You only have to get a 2-year workmanship warranty. So you could have the best system in the world, but there's a leak in your roof. Well, now you've got to pay for it, because the workmanship warranty is only 2 years.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But it costs money to get these certificates. A lot of people go, well, I can get panels and batteries off the internet for $3,000.
I've had this conversation quite regularly, actually.
And don't get me wrong, like the solar panels now are a lot cheaper than they used to be. They're actually one of the cheaper parts of the package. But if you want to have the right insurance for your workers, you want to have the right protection for your customers, insurance back warranties if the customer goes.
If you want any payback on your system, you've got to have it done by a proper company, because if they don't give you the right certificates, or they haven't done the right approvals, then yes, you will use less electricity.
But you have more problems.
You have more problems. You don't get the payback or the return on your investment. So
here's another good line that we say to our customers.
What's that?
I know you like our lines.
I do.
Your savings are only savings if you're not spending them.
Yeah.
Like I will show a customer, like, you've got a 2-year workmanship warranty there, 5 years on the inverter, and 10 years on the panels, 5 years on the battery. Your payback time's 8 years. Some of your products are warranted for less time than it's going to take to pay itself off through the savings alone.
So is that a 25-year return on your investment then, or does that take it down to a 10? Well, so you're losing $50,000 on your return on your investment.
We've got to keep buying the products.
So
you might think, well, why don't you just spend the money on the energy company? What's the difference?
Don't go through the grief.
So I think that is the key. I mean, the industry is changing as more people are coming into it. And it's a very fast growing industry.
Just got to be fluid with everything. Take the rough with the smooth. But as long as we have the best interest of the customer, then anything is possible. That's what I believe. And working with other companies so that, it's a whole package.
Yeah, it's true. Like also, for the customers, don't pay for the system until it's finished, until it's working. Like, we've been at this customer's house now for a month, going back and forth. The customer's impatient. We don't get paid any money. We only get paid. So we're doing a lot of work now up front, before we get paid, to make sure the customer's satisfied.
Because you've had so many problems with his stuff.
Mate, there's and historic problems, cabling, monitoring. Like I said, that out of all the installs we've done this year, that's probably the one where it's had a lot of unique requirements, a lot of different things that we wouldn't normally see to fix. And the customers notice, understandably a bit frustrated, because they, you've gone in, and as a surveyor, I surveyed the job. I was like, this should be happens. If that doesn't happen, we might have to do this. And then when you go on the day, I don't test the voltage on the property. I don't take the meter apart, the fuse board apart.
You're not going to.
So my job is to advise on whether the job is suitable. But then you are going to get some problems, but it's how you deal with those problems.
I agree with that.
Like, no dramas,
like the larger jobs that you do as well, there's always more chance of having problems. But what will make or break a company is how you deal with those problems and whose best interest do you have at heart. If you have profit at heart, then the customer journey will be less. But if you always go into any transaction with having the best interest of the customer, then whatever problem can be dealt with. It's not a drama at all.
No.
That's my standpoint on it, mate.
Quite often, the customer that's given us the most referrals actually had a fair few problems on the install. So, let's be honest, we all want to buy something and have no problems.
Yeah, of course.
You get what you pay for, but the true testament, like we've just spoken about, is if something goes wrong, and when you show a customer that and they can tell their friends and family and people on the street, listen, that went wrong, now it's all fixed and now we've achieved the goals. Yeah. I think that's actually more powerful. But
not just that, that's all fixed and I didn't have to ring them 500 times to get them to do it. It was as soon as...
Proactive.
Yeah, proactive. As soon as there was a problem, they got on the case. Yes, they may have had to wait a little bit of time for a manufacturer to do a review on that product, or
suppliers can be a bit of a
that is
something that a lot of customers don't see.
Yeah,
we had one recently where we re-roofed the house.
Yeah, I've seen that, and that was really cool.
Yeah. So we will do a complete re-roof and either do in-roof or on-roof.
Yeah.
Now the plan was to do in-roof, but they didn't have the landscape, the GSE, the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So we've discontinued. They didn't give us the notice. So we've sold a job on the pretense of what we've installed before.
Yeah.
Now we can't get the landscape in-roof panels.
Okay.
So you're like, like the customer's like, I've paid for that.
Yeah.
And now it's this. So what we did is we actually gave them a panel extra.
Yeah.
Because in roof you have to give more curtilage between the top, bottoms and sides for the roof structurability.
Yeah.
We've actually given them an extra panel.
Yeah.
It's now on roof. So they're now getting more than what they paid for.
Yeah.
In terms
We've seen that new MCS thing that has come out, or I think it was an 8-bit notification that's come out with regards to in-roof systems now, that because of obviously panels and everything getting hot, the in-roof systems need to be verified that they are suitable. So there's a bit of a black mark on in-roof systems at the moment.
Like lofts, mate.
Yeah.
Lofts is another one.
Let's not go into that. It's so frustrating at the moment. Yeah.
I think, Well, I think lofts is a good one to touch on, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just because, I see it all the time and it is a guidance, not a regulation.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm not saying that you should always put batteries and inverters in lofts. There's loads of ones that I see that you should definitely not put it in. Yeah. Like they're tiny, there's no ventilation. Yeah. The inverters need ventilation. The batteries need insulation.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, we'll get companies that, might have done a quote on the same house that we're at that will say, oh, can't believe that company's doing that. We're going to put them outside. Now, these batteries they're putting outside don't have any inbuilt heaters in them and stop working after they're 10 degrees.
They're all IP65 rated.
They can get rained on.
But they can work at lower temperatures as well. It's complicated. Let's not get into it because it's a great. I've been pulled by 2 different people from the podcast and I've talked about it and they're like, oh yeah, IP65, they're outside, it doesn't matter, they can work to like minus 20 or whatever.
I see the customer over 8 years. I see the customer.
And so it's a complicated matter, and I don't want to put out information that I'm not 100% on. So when we know more, we'll let them know. Right, that's all good. We've got a giveaway.
Perfect.
Yeah. So the sponsors, Hale Heating and Renewables, have allowed us to do a Christmas giveaway. So it's the 12 gifts of Christmas from our sponsors at Hale Heating and Renewables. So the first one I'm gonna give over to Kieren to give away from our sponsors.
And these are to your customers, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's to new customers or existing customers that follow and like obviously Hale Heating Renewables and the Renewable Radio podcast. They want to get a genuine installation. They're not just doing it to get something for free. They really want to lower their utility bills or
future-proof their house,
future-proof their home, or they're going through something like their boiler's broken down, they need a new boiler. They're a genuine customer. They're not just someone who's just chancing it to get something for free, okay? They're existing or new customers that are coming with us.
Perfect. So the first prize is a free energy efficiency survey on your property.
Yeah, so what that means is someone from or works with Hale Heating and Renewables will come out and they will do a free energy efficiency survey for you. So if you've got really high bills, you're looking at the new boiler, you want an energy efficient boiler, or you want a solar installation on your roof to maximize savings, then we will send someone out completely free of charge. Normally costs around £300, but we'll send someone out completely free of charge to give you some helpful advice. So number 2 is a free boiler service. So Hale Heating and Renewables will come out and do a free boiler service in your home so that you can maintain and service your boiler for another year and making sure that it's all working correctly.
Perfect. And number 3, the third prize, is free bird proofing. And obviously on your solar panels, I think it's a really important area just to quickly touch on. There's a lot of customers out there that might have solar that didn't get bird proofing.
Yeah.
Pigeon poo in particular is very toxic. It can corrode the actual cables. I've had a few customers recently that have been quite sick. They think it's from the pigeon poo, so obviously it's quite hard to prove, what they've got sick from. But pigeons they make a lot of noise, they make a lot of mess. It's actually very cheap to do at the time of installation. It can be very expensive to do after the point of installation. So that's a really good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think bird proofing is definitely something that needs to happen on all installations. And it's another thing that we can give to our customers.
Perfect.
So number 4 is our keep your home warm this winter incentive. So part of that package that is going to be free from Hale Heating and Renewables is going to be a little gift basket with some draft excluders on there. It's going to have a free service. It's going to be free call outs, so that if you've got a boiler within this package, you can call us out for free twice in that year. And it's just providing you, it's like an EPC efficiency rating that we'll do on your property, but we'll give you like draft excluders, we'll service your boiler, we'll give you free breakdowns if you've got an older boiler, we'll advise you on the best way to run your heating system, and we'll actually give you a free energy efficiency smart thermostat and show you and help you run your heating system from that smart thermostat.
That'll be a real cool prize, that one.
That's the one that I'm most excited about, because I feel like that will have the most benefit for the customer. Because in Wales, we're really struggling as a nation with, fuel poverty. And, these things are very important.
So the 5th prize is a £100 Amazon voucher. So obviously you can spend that at your leisure for what you need, maybe on a home improvement product that's relevant to what we're talking about, or whatever you want to spend it on. Yeah,
that £100 Amazon voucher, you don't necessarily have to take it as an Amazon voucher, but you could add it to the cost of your installation. So if you was having a new boiler with us, or solar or battery only, you could say, can I use this £100 voucher to take off the installation cost as well, which I think is another benefit of it.
Cool.
So the 6th day of Christmas gifts from Hale Heating is a free upgrade on your battery storage. So if you're having solar panels and a battery, or you're just having a battery only job with us, then one lucky customer will get an extra battery.
Is that even if it has been installed?
Yeah. So like if they want to go for battery only, or they say they're doing a 5 kilowatt battery, we'll add another cell on free of charge.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So the 7th prize is a buy one, get one free on solar panels. That'll be a great one.
Yeah. So how this one will work is, say you're having a 10 panel system with us, you will win this prize, and one lucky person will win this prize, I got to say that, and they will, instead of paying for the whole 10 panels, they will only pay for 5.
Awesome.
The next one for the 8th prize, or the
8th day of Christmas, is that?
the 8th giveaway for Christmas.
Okay.
Is a free service and maintenance package for your boiler and your heating system. This includes your plumbing up to taps and valves, your thermostat and the boiler, worth over £240, and that runs for 12 months. And included in that is a free service and free unlimited call-outs as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the 9th prize for Christmas is a free service and maintenance package on solar worth over 600 quid.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What does that entail?
Yeah, so that's free service every year, just making sure it's all running properly. 2 cleans by one of the people we use to clean our solar panels for our customers if they sign up to our packages, and over the 5-year period, if they carry on with it over the other 4 years, then it's a free systems check on the 5th year, just doubling down, making sure every part of that equipment is covered, and there's free call-outs involved on that as well. But what it also intakes, so does the boiler one as well, is any future work you have on the property is 20% off. So, and that package is worth over £600.
Awesome.
The next one, okay, so we get into the big prizes now. So the 10th giveaway for Christmas is a free boiler install. So this will be specifically for a customer that needs a new boiler. They've inquired with a new boiler with us, but the circumstances that's involved with them, they might have been working within the health care industry, or a fireman, or giving back via charity for a long period of time, or one lucky customer that does give everything to everyone else, then we will give that back to you.
That's an amazing prize, mate.
Yeah.
That's an
Thank
amazing
you.
prize. The 11th prize of Christmas is a free battery-only installation.
Yeah, so that could be someone who's having solar with us. Yeah, or even just only wants to put a battery-only system in, but
Maybe the roof's not suitable.
yeah, or it's a listed building or
Yep.
something like that, then we will give this away. But the same circumstances as the previous one, that the circumstances that are involved are they've give everything back to the community and never asked for something, so we're going to give something back to them.
Awesome.
12th one is a complete free solar panel installation. And as I've said on the last 3,
Cheap quote that.
yeah, no, yeah, that's not a bad package, but we'll give someone a complete system free of charge, up to £10,000 worth of installation. And that's going to be the same circumstances, someone who's actually given so much back to the community that we want to help.
I think that's awesome, mate. I think, working with people like yourself that do generally not just want to be in business to make money. Let's be honest. Everyone in business wants to make money to a degree, don't they? To pay their staff, pay themselves. But to be able to have that success, to be able to then give back to the customers, it's a really powerful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, like I'm proud to be able to, the company has got the position that we can do this for our customers.
I know you've put it on social media a couple of times about that installation with the bees that you had to get removed. That resonated a lot with us.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it with the customer giving free pigeon proofing, just because she couldn't afford it. She was a single mum. She'd gone through a few health issues, and those things, like you don't have to do them.
No.
They hurt your top line in a financial sense, but you don't care about it because there's 2 reasons why you're in business.
Yeah.
You want to help people as well as make money. There's a lot of people out there that just want to make money.
They should go hand in hand, and to be like, if I'm honest with you, the amount of publicity that job alone has got has been crazy. We've been in national papers, we've been in local papers, we've had people who we've never met and have never done installations for, directly messaging me and emailing me, thanking me for what I've done for that customer. And
makes you want to do more, doesn't it?
yeah, I'm very proud of the business and where the business is today, that we can give back to the local community. And as long as I'm in a position to do that, I will carry on doing that.
Yeah. What do you donate to other charities as well as part of your business?
Yeah, so we donate to local charities. We're going into every installation that we do, or every unit that we sell. We're looking into planting a tree.
Woodland Trust?
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing. We just met them at a show.
Is it?
We're
Yeah.
about to do the same thing.
I think, that we're in the environmental game.
Well, working in the forestry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it's something that we're looking at doing. I mean, at the moment, we sponsor 3 football teams.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, "Oh, football teams. I like football."
We do football, rugby.
Yeah.
We do same sort of things.
But
we sponsor athletes too.
One of the football teams that we're sponsoring is actually a drug rehabilitation centre.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
for young males that might go into, go down that path, they need something to come out of when they've rehabilitated themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's Yoga Bonito FC. Give them a bit of a
shout out to the boys.
So I believe they're going very well this year as well. So yeah, last year was the first year that we set that up. So we fully funded everything from the kits to,
Nice.
there's a lot of fees and the balls and, there's a lot of stuff that goes into a football team that you don't realise.
100%.
It's like a mini business.
Yeah.
So-
We as a company, we should have some big news in the next couple of weeks to a month of something that we're doing in the local community, which we'll be providing for that community and sponsoring someone. I won't go too much into it now, but it will be all over our social and everything like that, and it is it's a big deal.
That'll be cool. I'm excited to hear it.
It's going to be giving back to the community. There's going to be a lot involved, and I'm just so excited with the opportunities that we are getting from things like this, like the podcast, and from the business that we're doing, that we can give back to the community.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate.
Yeah. Right, that's everything from the Renewable Christmas special. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Kieren from KMM Energy
Enjoyed that.
Solutions once again. Thanks very much to our sponsors that make it all possible. Hale Heating and Renewables and the Hale Group. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like and follow.